What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round 1 Sports TV. I am always your host, Edwin. Where do all fights start? Round 1. We got an amazing show for you here today. Let's talk about all the power moves being made in the sport of boxing. Turki, Alalshikh. The potential rematch between Gervonta Tank Davis and Rocha. I like it. Let's talk about it. All that and more, and anything you want to talk about, I'll be dropping the link. Don't forget to hit the like. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And like always, let's hop right into this video. So what's up, fight fans? And we got a lot to talk about. The Lamont Rocha situation with Tank Davis. I like it. Tank Davis alluded to on social media that he was really looking for making a quick ring turnaround. And I want to talk to you guys about this. Hold on one second. Let me get set up here. I know it's going to ask me to. Let me let you on a secret real quick. Yeah, so as you guys join in, let me know where you guys are watching from. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. So, this situation between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. And it's had a lot of fight fans all over social media arguing, going back and forth on the moment that transpired in the ring between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, where that Tank Davis alluded to the fact that grease got into his eye, whether it was the snap of the braid or the pop of the punch, which some believe. He feels that something went in his eye and it was impairing his vision. That's been the argument. And the fact that he said that his vision was impaired and that people can get knocked out like that. I paid attention to that. Meaning he was scared to get knocked out. He's scared to lose, Tank. He really is. And I think that's why he fights so hard to win. So when this took place, Tank Davis took the knee heard across the world. It's been one of the most debated points on YouTube in recent days. Tank Davis has gotten a lot of scrutiny for that knee and what he did in that ring. I've expressed myself that I've seen on numerous occasions, many different fights, where that there was something in impairing the vision of the fighter, and they had to push through it. Ali did it versus Sonny Liston. Tim Tszyu did it versus Sebastian Fundora. And we've seen it time and time again, where that you need to push through these things and then wait until you get into your corner and advise them. Naoya inoue fought Nonito Donaire with one eye. What he do? He covered his eye with his glove in order to see right. Those are adjustments that men had to do in situations in a ring that Gervonta Davis, I feel, truly lost his mind. In order for a man to do that in the middle of a boxing match, he has to think a lot about himself. I think Gervonta thinks he's bigger than boxing. I really do. And I think Gervonta Davis didn't find anything wrong with holding the action because of who he is. I'm Gervonta Tank Davis. If I need to go wipe my face, I can go wipe my face. That's how the man felt. This star status has really like got into his head. But I think what happened and what took place in that ring really woke him up. There was a lot of times I felt in Gervonta Tank Davis's career where I started to see the more improved version of him. And then no sooner that he wins his next fight, he goes right back into his old behaviors. You start seeing him in car accidents, this, that. He'll come out of that. He looked amazing in his next fight. And then after that, look what's going on again. It seems like Gervonta Tank Davis can't get it together. He can't stay focused. And the New York Boxing Athletic Committee has a task in front of them because of what took place between the two combatants. Gervonta Davis, I feel that the only way we can resolve this, the most logical way I feel that we can resolve this, is in the ring. The way it started. This is a sport of combat. This is a sport where we fight it out to see who's the best. This is not a sport of debate or opinion or who you like the most. That doesn't win you fights. This started in the ring. It needs to end in the ring. Although the fans are asking for Gervonta Davis's head, they want him to have a loss. They want Lamont Roach to be awarded the victory due to the fact that if you would have scored that knockdown, he would have been up 1 point. He would have won the fight. So I looked at this fight. I had different views and opinions on the outcome. It took me a day or two, really sit back and think about a lot of different scenarios of how this could play out. What I thought one of the biggest ways this would play out would be that the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, if they were to take this decision and overturn it, right, you really can't get it overturned to a no contest. Getting it overturned to a no contest does nothing. You're right back where you started, a draw. In order to get a victory in this, you would have to award Lamont Roach the victory and Gervonta Tank Davis the defeat. And in doing so, you would have to take the belt from Gervonta Tank Davis and put it around the waist of Lamont Roach. Then you got to go back into the history books, right? And you got to award him victory on that night. And that's how, when they look back, how did you get that second belt? Who did you beat in your second division? It needs to say Gervonta Tank Davis in order for him to get credit for it, right? Okay. It's not really all that messy of a situation, but in today's era on social media and all the people glamoring over this fight, I already felt that Lamont Roach won the night. He might have not won the fight, but he sure the hell did win the night. And Lamont Roach, his status went up. So with or without Gervonta Tank Davis, I think Lamont Roach is going to cash in. Just depends if he can get himself the right dancing partner, and he would have capitalized off this. But another fight with Tank Davis would really boost up the money. Now they got to pay him. They're going to have to pay him way more than that $600,000 they were saying they were paying him. Right? So now, by them doing this, the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, I think one of the approaches they should take is order the fight again themselves. the New York Boxing Athletic Committee, deeming the fight that the only possible outcome without tarnishing anybody's record, pissing off both sides, right, would be to allow you guys to run it back. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. What's the other alternative? In order for them to flip this decision, you would have to say that the referee and all your judges and all your computers and malfunctions were incompetent. The athletic committee would have to say that their officiating was wrong. They would have to say that the judges and your instant replay, you don't got your shit together. They're not going to go against each other. The New York Athletic Committee is not going to rock the judging and the refereeing officials sanctioning freaking union thing there, right? They're not going to go against each other. That's just like the teacher being wrong in the middle of the classroom, and you tell the principal, yo, this teacher, he can't go against the teacher. The minute you go against that teacher, it's going to open the door for all the students to lash out at other teachers, thinking that you must keep order. So in order to award the victory to Gervonta Davis, you got to say that the referee was wrong. Now his credibility and his reputation in the sport of boxing has to come up, because they got to find that he didn't even do his job to call that knockdown. It'll get messy. They're not going against their own. I'm trying to tell you. The best possible outcome is for make it a mandatory between them two, that it's ordered by the athletic committee, right? So therefore, you guys can resolve this in the ring yourselves, and whoever wins or loses, that's what it is. And then the athletic committee wipes their hand with it. They don't have to investigate the referee, the judges, or everything else that's wrong with boxing. They're not going to admit that it was their fault you lost. I don't see it happening. The credibility of the ref will come in, the judges, your equipment. Where was the instant replay? Malfunction my ass. You guys didn't even have that shit plugged in. It's going to open a whole new can of worms. I don't see them doing that. They've never did it for any boxer in history. So the only time I've seen them it's when there was like a cheating in a part of a coach or the fighter. Maybe he put something in his gloves or something, and they overturn stuff like that, so forth. But when the accuser here is the referee, and he started counting. He told me to go back to my corner. That's how you would have to award him the victory. And I don't think they're going to do that. So, ordering the fight back, Gervonta said he want to fight sooner than later. Try to get in there in the summer. And I'm with it. I'm with it now. Okay? God only knows what Loma's doing. Shakur Stevenson, I mean, I know he ain't going to fight Keyshawn, but maybe, they can get one. I don't know who's going to fight up there anymore. I really don't know anymore. But I know if this Gervonta Davis fight kicks off, that's who he's going to be fighting. So he ain't going to be fighting Loma, Keyshawn, and none. And once again, the 135-pound weight division is stalling out without their biggest star. It's not really going anywhere. Not like the 140-pound weight division heating up, 154 heating up, 147 heating up. And it's all because of the fighters that migrated from 135 upwards. You got Tio and Arnold Barboza, Times Square. What Tio did And my man sent me the video. I guess he was out there and he recorded it off his phone, and he caught the conversation between Tio and Arnold Barboza. And it was like Tio, the fan asked Tio, look at Arnold Barboza in his eyes. Tio said, I'm not looking him in his eyes until he takes that shit off his shoulder. Meaning that belt is not part of the Alphabet Boys. That belt right there doesn't belong here. You cannot allow anyone else to bring any Mickey Mouse belt, any belt they made up or tricked out, put it on and be put next to your real world title. You need to keep your real world title prestigious. And those are the rules. You don't photograph me. Don't get in the ring with me with your makeshift made up belt. We ain't fighting for it. It's not on the line, and it don't mean nothing. So unless you respect the sport you're in, Arnold Barboza, take that piece of garbage off your freaking shoulder, and then you can put your interim on, which is in the conversation, and look me in the eye like a man. And that's Teofimo Lopez backing up boxing. And I thought that was tough. For as much as I'm like turned off by Tio, that was some ball shit right there. For him to recognize that. Some guys might even just sleep on it. Like other champions, they won't even think anything about it. But Tio obviously loves the sport of boxing enough and pays attention at least that much, where that Tio was like, bro, what the fuck is that on your shoulder? And Arnold tried to come up with like them 2 belts, and that other one was some Riyadh, whatever, somebody made it. He said, get that trinket off your shoulder. Now, we ain't promoting that belt here. It has no place. Get rid of it. And he did. Arnold Barboza passed that shit up. Here, take that. Then he got the face off he was looking for. And then, of course, Tio comes with controversy. You see Tio, his dad, that dude Punch Drunk. He's a YouTube content creator. He's got all of Tio and his dad. Like, yo, bro, like, que come? Yo, he's a kiss ass, bro. Listen, that dude Punch Drunk is what his name says, right? He acting all gangster and hard and everything. Like, yeah, fuck you. I'm from Harlem. Right? And the dude, when I seen like other footage on a different angle, there's mad security there. They're behind the metal like guardrails, like the fans, and he's well behind where all the cameras and everything. Yo, that's just a stunt, bro. If my man was about it and he was like really with that action, the moment he would have felt some kind of way, I would have just slid off that ringside magazine, gave it a pops here, excuse me, or to slid off to the left. Not it right in the front where everybody can see you. Nah, fuck that. I'm just going to like let people come in front of me, keep going backwards for a second, and I'm going to take the long way around the whole press conference so that they still in front arguing with Tio's dad. And if they don't catch me, I'm coming around the whole back and I'm going to come in straight like that. I'm going to tap him on the shoulder and let him, hey, how you doing? Yeah, listen, he ain't about it. And I was like, my man had the ringside magazine belt on his shoulder talking like he was going to fight on the card. Yo, it must be cool, like holding the belts and ringside, that's cool. But I mean, well, what he was doing with it, he was acting like he was going to be on the undercard, We need Edwin versus Punch. I'll fucking box circles around that dude. Yo, but it's like, then you saw Tio. He was up on the podium, right? And he's trying to get at Devin Haney. And Devin Haney said some slick shit right back to him. Tio was like, yo, I'm just trying to help you out, sell the fight. Devin Haney said, I don't need no help. Who told you we need help? We sitting at the same table you sitting. I don't need your help. I'm right here, right next to you. Right? And he said, you on drugs to Tio. Because Tio is acting a little like erratic or whatever. But as we all know, that's Teofimo Lopez. You don't need to be on no drugs. That man, if you put on some drugs, it might slow him down. You know? Right? Tio's amp, you know? And Tio said some shit on that podium too, though. He said, Tio's told the fucking truth. You know, he said, I'm the only champion sitting up here. Let's just recognize that. This dude is main eventing, and he's a has-been, and all you got is an interim, and you guys are fighting for an interim. I'm the only champion up here. So let's put some respect on the championship's name, right? Like Tio was, but Tio's been getting so much scrutiny that even when he's saying some slick shit or doing some really cool shit for boxing, people are not seeing it. It's only due in part to Tio's antics and his mouth. See, sometimes you can say some shit out of your mouth that can play to your favor. But my mother always told me, your tongue is a double-edged sword. It can go both ways. Watch what you say. Because some things that come out of your mouth can hurt you. Like Tio's finding out. Tio's trying to use this approach of apology, like blaming his apology on the way you perceive things. Meaning, when Tio made that video of him eating a banana, like they said, oh, why were you eating a banana? You being racial. And Tio said, why are you being racist? Stereotypical. Where that you're watching me eat a banana and you're attaching it to a racist remark. No one in the world can eat a banana now? That's your fault. I never said anything about anything. All I did was make a video eating a banana. They said, why couldn't you eat an apple? He said, why couldn't I eat a pear? But I chose to eat a banana. Whatever way you took it, that's on you being racist. So who's the racist one here? So Tio try to flip it on them like that. And then if a person was to sit back and just take a second and think about what he just said, Tio's still dead wrong. Because it's not the subliminal message, Tio, that now you're trying to say that it's our fault for thinking that. No, it was the perception that you were putting out. You knew how people would receive that. And when they received it, you try to flip it like, oh, I was only eating banana. I don't know what I'm doing. No, when you did it, you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew you would get a reaction like that. So that's what you meant to do. By trying to just talk your way out of it and say, no, it's you guys having this mentality, thinking I'm doing these things because you see me doing something. Shame on you. No, that's not how that works. You put out an image knowing that they would receive it like that. That's why you thought about what you were going to do and you did it. See, that's the problem, Tio. You could say something and say, oh, I was referring to apes or gorillas. He calls himself a gorilla. No. You know exactly the way you were saying it. You wanted to get a reaction out of people. Although you're classless when it comes to your taste of stirring things up. You're not all that smart, Tio, huh? You don't really think your things through. But sometimes Tio does some shit that I'm like, okay, like that fight with Loma and shit. It was a great night for Tio that day. But what he did with Arnold Barboza over the belt, that in itself, like that was like, for someone to catch that, another boxer, like Arthur Benavidez didn't catch it. When they put that undisputed title around him, he accepted it and raised it up. Rather than speaking up for boxing and saying, this is not what I fought for. Although nice and shiny, this don't mean nothing. Give me the belts I fought for. I'll raise this up later. But in the ring, Arthur didn't catch it. Arthur went along with it. And Tio caught it. Tio said, nah, this is our sport, boxing. Unfortunately, the alphabet boys run this shit. Take that bullshit off your shoulder, and then we can talk. That's to be commended, bro. Because Arnold didn't catch it. A lot of fighters didn't catch with some of these things. And you gotta, if you want your sport to survive, you gotta speak up for it. That's what I felt Tio did. Yo, he got like 10% of my respect back on that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fully happy with him. You know what I mean? And it's nothing personal. I don't hold anything personal against Teofimo Lopez. I'm Puerto Rican. He said enough about us. If me and his path were to cross tomorrow, I'd probably ask him for a picture. Do an interview with him. Say, what's up, Tio? How you doing? I'm not going to take shit personal. Tio never did anything to me. Unless Tio raises his hand at me or tries to do anything to my family, then I ain't got a problem with you. I might have got a problem. And he ain't said anything to the remote where that I got to say, I'm going to take up for all the Puerto Ricans in the world and make it my obligation to go about out my way to attack Teofimo Lopez for us. Because I speak for all Puerto Ricans. No, I don't. No, I don't. The fuck made me, what I think I'm fucking super Puerto Rican? That by punching Tio in the face, I just made Puerto Rico proud? No. That's the easy way out. Wait until our fighter puts our hands on him. Subriel. Now we talking. Let's do it the right way. I can wait. I can wait. And while I'm waiting, hey, Tio, let's do an interview. Because when that day comes, that Subriel Matias and Teofimo Lopez, if they was to get in the ring, on that day, I'll get my get back. And the man we're sending in is Subriel Matias. Yeah. Yeah. And let's keep that shit out of boxing. There's no place for it. There's no place for it. For what Tio do. But, you know, it's not up to me to fight racism. There's real racism going around in the world. And I don't think that Teofimo Lopez is that. I think he said some foolish shit out of his mouth. But Teofimo Lopez a racist? No. 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 He's about as racist as all of us. The way you view any other nationality or who you wouldn't want your daughter seeing. We all got that little bit inside. Not every person in the world is welcoming to every other race and nationality. And that is either a healthy awareness or a healthy, like opinion or whatever. I hear my grandmother, they old as hell. And my grandmother sounds racist as fuck sometimes, right? But I understand her era and her time, and my grandmother's not. She's just a real outspoken lady, and but she's not. And like when I hear Tio talk like this, and everybody's like, "No, he's a racist," and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I wonder if you ever experienced real racism in your life before. To all the people that were going around calling Tio racist, I'm not sure if they've ever experienced that. Growing up in New Jersey and Massachusetts, I was called the N-word, spick, all kinds of shit. I've been hate against, racist by my neighbors. They told me to go back to my country. Everything. I believe my brother got spit on one day. I've a whole bunch of things I've experienced as a child, right? And that's real hate. That's neighborhoods fighting against each other because you walked down their neighborhood because you were a different shade of skin color. We knew in the Southie in Boston, we couldn't walk down those streets. No Puerto Rican or brother could walk down them streets. That was just a fact. Every brother, family, every Puerto Rican that thought they were so tough and said, I'll shoot it out with them. Well, then that's exactly what happened. Just another body in the street. That was real hate. That real violent acts. Real things wrong with the world. I don't see T.O. doing that. I'm upset with him, yeah, but I'll tell you what, man. I've said some dumb shit in my life. I'm not sure if I already said anything like that, but I know I said some dumb shit in my life, and I just hope that I never say anything that a mob of people I can't even go back home. Like Tio at one point couldn't even walk down New York streets. That's how bad it was for him. I think it still is. It's kind of ridiculous. But hey, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just asking you to protect yourself and your loved ones and to fight for something that has real meaning. Don't throw your life away or do something for a person you've never met. And who are you doing it for? In the name of your country or something? Like what? So let's wait for him to get in the ring and get his ass kicked. Then we can laugh then. That's what I say. You know what I'm saying? let him. There's places for this. You know what I'm saying? He'll get his for that. And then in other reports, and I'm watching this in real time right now to see if we get an update on the Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach situation. If the New York Boxing Athletic Committee issues out a statement saying, what they're going to do with the situation. Typically, I think it's going to stay the same way. I've seen worst case situations not get overturned. And like I said previously in the video, in order to overturn this decision, you would have to say that the judging, the referee, and the system failed Lamont Roach. You would have to admit that your system is flawed. Because the way you would give the win to Tank wasn't because the fighter cheated or he had something in his gloves or, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't none of that. This was an officiating problem. This particular situation has to deal with the ref not calling the knockdown. So you would have to discredit your ref. And I really don't think they're going to do that. I really don't think they're going to do that for Gervonta. What the fuck? That's why I don't like reading nothing, man. I read his abbreviations and I keep telling myself whenever I start reading, so I stop and I read it in my head because I done got caught up like that. You know, somebody text something, you just read it. This dude, man, WTF, dude. System is corrupt. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Right? And we've been talking about Turki Alalshikh and this new boxing league, TKO, the hiring of Dana White, bringing him aboard. And a lot of people viewed that and said, why the hell would you hire Dana White? He's a mixed martial art guy. Well, he didn't hire him to pick the talent. No, he didn't. What he hired him to do was to build the organization from the ground up, just like he did with the UFC. Whatever formula you use for the UFC, that's what Turki Alalshikh is buying out of Dana White. He's not buying Dana White's insight and all his knowledge of boxing. That's not what he's paying for. Dana White knows how to build an a sporting sport from the ground up and making it as popular as the UFC got. Right? So Turki said, this is what I got to work with. This is what I'm hiring you for. And this is what I need you to do. That's why Dana White is there. He's going to build, and if you didn't know this, Dana White was about boxing in Boston when he got ran out by Whitey Bulger. So Dana White did start, his own boxing gym in Boston. He was just like picking it up when like them mob dudes came in and chased him out of town. So he does have like some boxing background, but he's mostly mixed martial arts. But that's not what he's buying. So when he brought over him, it was announced today in Ringside Magazine. Well, no, it wasn't on Ringside Magazine. I'm sorry. That was another article I read. It was in a different boxing news report. I forgot the reporter that wrote the story. And he was talking to Dana White and the whole situation with Turki Alalshikh and what's his future plans and how is he going to kick it off. And according to Dana White, his very first event, he's going to organize and kick off the new TKO league is going to be Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford. That's what Turki gave him. This is what I got. This is what I want from you. This is what I want you to do. Work with what I gave you. Can you build me a boxing league like you did the UFC? Dana White took a look at all those zeros and was like, you got a motherfucking deal. You got a deal. How many? I can do it. I will have this shit up and running. Damn it. Listen, I will. Looking at that check. Right? Yeah, it did. The boxers versus the MMA event drew a lot of money, right? The crazy thing, if you guys don't know the history behind that, that was a deliberate attack from Jake Paul to Dana White. Once upon a time, a fighter named by the Ben Askren fought Jake Paul. And Ben Askren was like a UFC fighter, whatever. He had gotten knocked out by the knee heard about around the world. And Jake Paul was playing around with boxing in the beginning. A lot of people felt like a real distaste for what Jake Paul was doing. He just knocked out Tyron Woodley. So Dana White allowed his fighter to go over and fight Jake Paul. What happened was Jake Paul called out Dana White and said, I'll bet you $1 million I knock out Ben Askren. And Dana White was like, you ain't going to knock out our UFC fighter, bro. You can't fight. Jake Paul said, well, if you say I can't fight, bet $1 million I knock him out. Right? So Jake Paul went out there and knocked him out. Dana White said, fuck you. He didn't pay Jake Paul shit. Dana White said, we ain't had no bet. You were just talking over there. Did you shake my hand? Did we put down money? No, then I ain't paying you shit. And then Jake Paul deliberately signed up all the UFC old timers and beat them in the ring just to shit on the UFC. What did you see? Jake Paul beating up Nick Diaz, the Spider Silva, all the legends. That's why he was doing that. Because Dana White never paid him. So to shit on the UFC and make it that the boxing is better than the UFC by continuously beating down their old legends, Dana White was tight, bro. He was tight, yo. He was telling, don't fight him. This and that. And every time, Jake Paul, boop, yup, another one. That's why he kept fighting those dudes. He was making his money off of your guys because he didn't pay them. If not, Jake Paul probably would have fought some boxers or some shit. But he took it personal type shit. And that's what spawned all that, which in actuality, when you didn't know any of that, you were just seeing crossover fights. And as a fan, people were like, yeah, that's good or not, or this and that, opinionated. Meanwhile, this was a personal attack from Jake Paul to the UFC. Yeah. And then it was no secret that Turki Alalshikh was going into MAA. You would see a lot of the Saudis in the attendance with their white suits on and their hats and stuff. What is this called? I forgot what it's called. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to offend anybody. So, and I don't want to call it a hat neither. So if somebody can help me with that, I don't know. I probably won't mention it ever again, you know. So they're sitting there and you see them at the UFC events. So you could see Turkey's involvement into combat sports, whether it was the UFC type combat or boxing. Turkey was looking for was like that new next thing. Kind of like what they did with bare knuckle fighting. The problem with bare knuckle fighting, your champion only lasts 2 or 3 fights and his career is over. That's a real meat grinding sport. One fight in bare knuckle, you are done. That dude, Mike Perry, he's going to pay for all them punches later in his life. He's going to pay for every shot. Trust me. Yeah, I like that. I don't feel no pain. Blah, blah. You see him 10 years later. Yo, rocked. Can't spell his name. People else enjoying the fruits of your labor. They spending your money while you drooling on the side. They got you in the chair. Let it ride. And yeah, they're spending your money and you paid for all that. Yeah. So, you know, Turk, he's not leaving. He's not leaving. He's gonna push this boxing league. Now, one of the ways, there's many different ways I'm trying to figure out which way is this league gonna play out. How's this gonna, affect us? As a matter of fact, let me drop the link. See if any of y'all want to join, talk about it, whatever. If you got anything on your mind, I've said everything I needed to say. Just gonna drop it right here. What's up, Carlos? You're damn right, Carlos. No corner should assist. That's automatically termination. Disqualification would have been when he turned his back to the ref. The ref can disqualify you because you gave your back to the ref. When he put his head under the apron, and the minute Calvin Ford put the towel to his face, the fight is terminated. You cannot prove to me that you didn't have no form of PEDs, PEs, the squirting kind, the one that's on contact by skin. Though they're real expensive, but they're some of the best in the world. All you gotta do, fast acting, rub that shit on. You get all of a sudden your fighter's fighting like, wow, did he get an amazing second wind in the 9th round when he was just dying 3 rounds ago? This guy looks like he's in the 1st round throwing 1,000 punches. How do I know you didn't do that? And no one knows. That's why what happens in this situation is that when the Boxing Athletic Committee starts to break down the investigation, they're going to see there were so many opportunities for this referee to cancel this event. This fight is over. There were too many things that happened which would speak to the incompetence of the referee. And the judges are even incompetent even more because there's a man outside the ring, an official, with a clock when you go down. If the referee does not know where it is on the count, he looks at him. And that guy tells him, yo, 2, 3, 4, like that. And he looks at him. What's up, Carlos? How you doing?
Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Carlos.
What up, man? Doing round one. It's been a while, man.
What's up, baby? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just doing some life stuff.
Yeah.
But it's been
And you
a
trying to,
crazy
yep,
week of boxing. I'm trying to catch up and all that stuff,
yep.
and I'm trying to figure out this whole tank situation. I'm trying to catch up with the New York Fury. That's a crazy weekend. We gotta talk about that.
Oh, you
But
know,
but
yep. Go ahead.
yeah, how you been? You been good?
I've been good. I've been trying to sort out this Tank Davis situation in the New York Boxing Athletic Committee. Same town, same city, where the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia thing debacle kicked off. And the commissioner at that time, I guess, didn't want to play ball. 4 days later, they pushed her right out the front door. If you're not going to say what we need you to say, then go that way. We'll hire someone else. Right? Type shit. I'm not saying that that's what happened, man, but anyway, same city, same town, different problem.
Yeah, I think I really had to look back to that fight, that Tank
Yep.
Davis fight, because in the moment when I was watching, I was at my cousin's house,
Mm-hmm.
so I couldn't really like analyze the situation was going on,
Right.
and I think it threw me off when he did that knee. He threw me off, and it was like, and then the corner threw that towel and was, assisting. I'm like, man, what the hell is going on? And then the referee stopped counting. He's like, that looked like a
Yeah.
knockdown, Tank. That looked like a knockdown. So it was like, anyways, but I looked back and I was like, man, I seen Lamar Roach winning that fight 7-5. I don't know if you agreed.
I see Lamont Roach winning that fight without the knockdown.
Right. 7-5, yeah.
I see it, and uh The knockdown itself, I mean, we could sit here and we can debate with the rules and everything, and I think we're in agreement, most of us, that we all feel no matter what took place, once you took that knee, it's a standing 8 count. There are
Yeah,
other explanations about him putting his head outside of the rope with the towel. That's immediate termination. No one can touch you unless it's a ring doctor, and the referee would have to put a halt to the action in order for him to check you out. You got to send the other guy to the neutral corner. Okay,
yeah. There was two fouls done in that round.
3 fouls.
Three
Three.
fouls. What's the third one? You
He
can.
turned his back to the ref.
Oh, okay, okay.
If you turn your back to the ref, that's a disqualification. Don't turn your back on me. Up, fight's over. You turned to ref. How many times have we seen that? He did 3 things consecutively that were all fouls. One, you needed to be him or Martin Roach needed a 10-8 round for that round because of the knee. If it wasn't for the knee, you turn your back on me, fight should be canceled. And then when you stuck your head out, now it should be the fight should be terminated. Once you put your head out and Calvin Ford touched your face with that towel, the fight was over. So, in order for the New York Boxing Athletic Committee to turn this all around, they would have to say that the referee was incompetent. They would have to say that it was the referee's fault.
And
It would,
and and not to cut you off,
yeah,
ain't the New York rules they have instant replay?
yes. What they're saying in Ringside Magazine, I actually have the article right here. I was just actually reading it. It's right here. They're blaming it on faulty equipment. They're saying at the time of the knockdown, their equipment was fucking up. Wow, what a coincidence. Motherfucker, y'all didn't even plug that shit in. You guys didn't even have the setup, I bet. But that speaks to you guys not being professionals.
And I
And
bet that, not to cut you off, I
yep.
bet their equipment will be up to date during
Oh
the
yeah,
fights of May. And during the fights of May, it's
right,
just
right.
go ahead.
You know, so but this is gonna give a black eye to officiating. In order for you to award him the victory, you would have to say why. And the reason why, because the referee didn't make the right call. Now you gotta the referee association has got to investigate him. And if ever they could trust his decision on a major fight. Now that's going to go against the strike against him. And not only him, shit rolls downhill. What about all the major officials that were around that no one else said, wait a minute, okay? Because what happens in this situation, because of moments like Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson and people feeling he was down past 10 seconds. Nowadays, if you nowadays, if you see a person go down in a ring, you know this happens in every fight now. There's gonna be a guy in the corner somewhere going 1, 2, 3. The referee looks at him and follows his count so that he knows where he is in the action. All that 7. Get to your corner, man. Didn't I tell you to stand there?
I
8.
I
Like, you know what I'm
noticed
saying?
I
Like that
noticed
shit is
no, you're right. I noticed that in every different part of region, every part of territory, you know, they they officiate boxing differently. For
yeah,
example, the most of the zone cards, I don't know, in Riyadh season, if someone gets knocked down, somebody the outside of the ring is counted,
yeah,
you know? So it's like, but the thing about this whole situation that upsets me, and I'm not like the thing about Tank, like, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I
right.
gave him the benefit of the doubt. Just let me explain this in the sense of his talent. Like, you know what I mean? Because we want him to do great things in boxing. But it comes to a point in time that I'm like, I'm not gonna support this type of crap for the simple fact one thing that I despise the most is corruption. and abuse. I mean, abuse also. Because I feel like in that moment, what he did was like he's above boxing, and no
Yeah,
one should ever be above boxing because then it's not fair. Because if that
yeah,
was anybody else, they would have count that a 10-8 round. They would have got DQ. They would have got, you know what I mean? So it's like, what is this favoritism? You know what I mean? That's why
yeah,
I got mad. I
yeah.
got mad
And
and
it was on blatant full display that they showed Tank Davis favoritism in that fight. There is no way around it. That was a pure act of favoritism right there. Now, whether or not people want to take it as a conspiracy theory, that's on you. You want to play that role. Oh shit, the ref was on it. They gave him a vanilla envelope. No, I think people are going a little too far with it. I think it's much simpler than that. Why couldn't the man just be a Tank Davis fan at heart? He's a referee. Obviously, he loves boxing, and he must have a few favorite fighters. And he's always wanted to be the ref in the Gervonta Tank Davis card. And he just likes him as a boxer himself. You didn't need to pay him. His heart was with Gervonta in the fight. He couldn't publicly come out and say that. But what if underneath his referee shirt, he had a Gervonta Tank Davis shirt? He was
and I
just a
understand
fan.
and understand that we as humans, we are flawed. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Exactly.
and go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, so saying that, I said all of that to say this. You hit the hammer right on the nail, right? We're humans, we're flawed, and we can miss part of the action. That's why we in, introduced instant replay in all major sports. And that's why you have instant replay in boxing. And one of the first boxing matches in a long time where instant replay came into effect and they alerted the fighters 2 rounds later in the Virgil Ortiz fight. He got knocked down, not
Yes.
that round, but the next round, they alerted them, hey, we're counting that knockdown. Why
Hey,
couldn't you do that in the Gervonta Tank Davis fight?
right. And you see how Virgil Ortiz had to pick it up. And he
Right,
had a, you know what I mean?
right.
And
And so
that,
you
go
you
ahead.
can't tell me that we don't have a system in place. You guys fuckers didn't use it. That means you guys failed Lamont Roach. That means the reason why Lamont Roach didn't win this fight is because of you, the officiating. Your system is flawed. And the New York Athletic Committee is not going to allow that to happen.
And it's sad because who do we trust in this really
No, bro,
grueling?
that's just like a teacher. You're in school.
Yeah.
The teacher's dead wrong. She lost her mind. You're being an irritating kid. She loses her mind. She just snaps and grabs you by the neck. Then all of a sudden, the parents come in. Yo, the teacher grabbed my kid by the neck. The principal can't side with the parents. He not right there, right then. He can't let the students think that they're taking over. Because what's going to happen is what's happening today in most jobs in all of America, where now it's like go to HR, and
Oh yeah.
the employee goes to HR and says, my boss didn't say hello to me this morning. I think he's racist, and he's fired.
Oh yeah, I remember
You will let the
yeah.
prisoners, you let the prisoners control the prison. You can't let order them. Listen, it's the law of the land. Whether you're right or wrong, you cannot allow them to prove you wrong because it's going to say your system isn't working as a leader, as a businessman, as an organization. You fuck that. Divert it. It was your fault. All the fingers are pointing. No, no, no. It was you did it.
Yeah. And I want to say this real quick. That referee, man, it really disappointed me because I thought he was a really good referee throughout the years. You know what I mean? He was, people talk about his eyes and stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
Listen, one eye was over here and one eye was over there, and he didn't see the knee. He didn't see
it's
the knee. One
it's
eye
just
was one.
with his all
He
the
never
years
saw
of being
it.
yeah, all the years of him being a veteran referee, man. I thought he was, I thought he will call it down the middle, but like now I realize, man, he ain't the best referee right now. To me, the best referee right now, I don't know his name, sorry, but is that one referee that that white guy from Canelo and Berlanga, and he ref the Benavides versus Morel. That referee is pretty good. When Morel hit Benavides after the bell, he took a point right away. I don't know if
Yeah,
you remember.
yeah.
So
Well, look, I like, see, the refereeing is one problem, right?
yeah,
The referee, all he can do, he's the third man in the ring, and his job is to make sure, guys are not foul, break it up. If you score a knockdown, get in there real quick. And he sometimes the ref got to hold the action in between rounds. Well, the round is over. Stop, 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 or stop a punch from coming in. And they're really in there mixing it up. But that's where the referee's job and his day ends. When you get to the 12th round, now the verdict's on the judges. The
yeah,
referee has no say. He can't say, "Hey, Javante, I award you the victory." It's not up to the referee's discretion. So no matter what happened with the referee not calling it, what the fuck were you guys watching that were scoring the fight? You see, it's much bigger, and that's what I'm trying to get you to see, Carlos. That from one problem, it's gonna spiral right down to all this that's taking place in a system that's very flawed.
very flawed. And you see what
So
the WBA came out and said?
yeah, well, so in order to avoid him the victory, you got to give an explanation and the reason why. Why? Because Javante's lawyers are gonna want to know why. What conclusion did you guys come up to that gave my client a loss? Well, how did you come up to that conclusion? Show me. And you think Javante's lawyers are not gonna question that? Of course. That's
But
where
like
everything gets messy, man.
it gets messy, but it has been done before with Haney and Ryan and Paul Williams and Laura, I believe, and something
all
some
all different all different situations.
it is all different though, but it's like, man, I don't know, man. It's like
It's all different. Look at Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia's situation had to do with the fighters themselves. Ryan testing dirty. That's not a black eye to the boxing world, to the judges, to the referee, to the system. What you're fighting right now is the system. In some of those cases, it was just an argument between the fighters. He had something in his glove. He came in overweight. He came in on some PEs. That's no problem. It's not. That's not what's going on here. The only way you can find a verdict in this, you have to say that the system failed Lamont Roach. The
yeah,
system put in place the referee, the judges, everything that's meant to protect the fighters and the instant replay all failed them. All three things or all multiple things we put in place to ensure the safety of the fighters, it failed.
yeah.
That's not something to play with. That's
And
not something that the New York Boxing Athletic Committee is about to sign off on, bro.
but
When
you don't think they got a strong argument about
I don't
turning
care
this
about
fight?
the argument. You got to understand. This is like this is the equivalent of being found guilty by a judge, and the appeal is to the judge. He overlooks your appeal. The one that found you guilty. You don't got no wins. He's
Well,
he, he's
you
not
act like
gonna
you act
he's
like
not
this is
gonna he's not gonna
sorry.
overappeal his own decision.
You act like this is a federal case, man. The chance of winning is slim to none.
Yeah, listen. Is this shit? People think that this is just a simple one. What I'm trying to wake up the boxing world's eyes is in all the cases that you're comparing this particular case to, this boxing, The ones you're comparing, you typically had to do with the two boxers. Something one of them did. The boxing world, the boxing entity that holds this all together is not taking a black eye for this. Don't you know that there's rules in place to protect us for safety? And if I can prove that your instant replay was, I can sue you. And then if I get the New York Athletic Committee saying, look at, even the New York Athletic Committee say that you guys are incompetent and these were all the reasons why they overturned my fight. Now I can just turn around and sue them.
Man.
This is way bigger than fucking Ryan Garcia coming in 3 pounds overweight and doing a PE. That's between you two. The athletic committee comes in. Well, now we can reach a verdict.
So it seems like how you're explaining to me, like you have little faith that the decision is going to be changed. You think it's no change is going to happen.
No, there's going to be an order to things. Meaning, the way that the athletic boxing committee can save face, right, in the boxing world, can get what they want, is that the New York Boxing Athletic Committee deems this fight a rematch. And they order it to the sanctioning bodies. They make the sanctioning bodies, the WBA, they won't let Tank Davis take another step further until this matter is resolved. And what they're going to do is put the pressure back onto the fighters rather than address the real problem in the room. Your fucking system doesn't work. Rather than saying that they're wrong, they're going to put it back onto the fighters. They're going to say, we're going to mandatory, you guys fight this out, and the winner will resolve all this. And they think that the people will be like, yeah, let them fight again. And then whoever wins, everybody forgets about this.
It's all about a money thing.
But they forget about the night that the system failed Lamont Roach.
That's a blemish, though. Forever, throughout the years, it's always going to be a blemish. We're going to look back on that, and we're going to be like, hey, man, you know what I mean, man.
Listen, this is a big, messy situation.
You can't clean up a shit. You know what I mean? You can't clean up a turd. You know what I mean?
Well,
and it seems like people are trying to clean this up.
That's all they're doing. They're going to clean it up, wipe it up, spray some spray. It smells nice.
No.
And walk away like nothing ever happened. Because they don't want you to see the real problem in boxing. This exposes a lot. It really does. And it exposes on a night that all the measures and precautionary measures put in place, not one of them saved me. Not one of you helped me. Not the instant replay, not the referee, not the judges. Bro, if the instant replay was working, you weren't sure if it was a knockdown or not, do exactly what you did in the Virgil Hill fight. Examine it, let a round pass. You guys come up to yup, it is a knockdown. Alert the fighters. Why couldn't they do that? Because the whole night was a shamble. From the judges you had to the referee to your system. And this is supposed to be a Tank Davis fight. One of the biggest stars in boxing. And what kind of Mickey Mouse operation were you guys running? And who put this shit together? They're going to start wanting names. Who orchestrated this? Who signed off on this?
I got to ask you a question, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got to ask you a question.
Yep.
Was this a cherry pick gone wrong? Oh, yeah. I'll give you time to analyze it. You can think it. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you. We gotta be real here. We gotta be real. Nobody gave Lamar Roach a chance.
He was a 21 underdog, bro.
This was the same old Gervonta Tank Davis formula. Let me bring a guy up to 130. The Hector Garcia, the Leo Santa Cruz. You know what I mean? Boop, knock him out. You know what I mean? Oh, he's a champion though. But hey, he ain't a active champion in your weight class.
Right.
And
Right.
it's to me. I mean, not to me. It is a cherry pick gone wrong. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have the right to feel that way, and I can't, and I have the right to think that way too, and a lot of people might think that no, Lamar was, as you can see, he was a worthy opponent, but wait, you didn't know that was going to be the outcome before he picked this dude. So don't give Lamar Roach, the fans out there, don't give Lamar Roach credit for putting up this great performance and saying now, no, he wasn't a cherry pick. As you can see, look how good he did. No, that's not how that works. And you're not going to talk your way out of this one. This was a cherry pick gone wrong from the beginning.
Because
And yeah, go ahead.
it just now it opens the doors. It says if Lamar Roach can go 12 with you, Tank, what can let me not even mention Shakur. What can a Keyshawn? What can a old Lomachenko? What can they do?
Well, Carlos, my young boxing brother, I'm
Yeah,
glad you're here with me on Round One Sports Talk, right? And you're getting real boxing insight here on this channel. Please hit this like button for me, guys, because about to
yeah.
break
Hit the
this
like
down.
button. Yep.
Right? My man Carlos brings up an interesting point that a lot of fans in boxing have a mistake of doing, even myself at times. I mean, stay with me. Check it out. When you look at the performance that Lamont Roach put up against Tank Davis, some fighters are going to look at that and say that's the blueprint for beating Tank Davis, and this is what you got to do. But I'm telling fight fans that's not how boxing works. Just because you can see something and identify something doesn't mean the next man knows exactly how to pull that off and is thinking the same thing Lamont was thinking in these sequences and exchanges. And that he understands what the when and where. Devin Haney knew that Ryan Garcia was nothing but a left check hook and what he got caught with in the first round. He knew
Mm.
all the answers to the test and he couldn't pull it off. Just because Lamont Roach did that, and you might look at Shakur being a more skilled fighter, Shakur might not understand the basic boxing things that Lamont Roach did. You might be able to look at something and say, yeah, this guy can pull it off, can pull that style off, or he has enough stamina or skill. But what he's lacking is the know-how. Unless you can figure that out, to pull, a lot of people try to pull off Floyd Mayweather's Philly shell defense.
Yep.
Always duplicate it, never replicate it. No one can pull that off because I try to tell people you would have to have all his God given talents, his
Hmm.
twitch like movement, his footwork, his stamina, his speed. Floyd was much more. In order to pull that off, you got to have all the things he has. If not,
Nobody
you're
is a
gonna look
copy.
stupid.
Nobody's a copy of anyone.
No,
Everybody's
so
yeah. Go
so
ahead.
so so meaning when other fight fans or fighters for that matter look on from the outside in and say Gervonta Davis is beatable. The cloak of invincibility for Gervonta Davis has been lifted.
I was
Because
gonna
look
say
at the
that.
performance that Lamar Roach did to him. That can be misleading.
Yep.
Because if you can't do what Lamont Roach did for 12 rounds, the way he stayed focused, the way he didn't divert from the plan, the way that everything he did, just because he can do it doesn't mean you can do it. And I don't
Yeah.
care if you're more skilled than Lamont. It doesn't matter. Styles make fights, and each fight is individual of thinking the when and the where, when to throw the punch. Shakur, you might be real skillful, but you might lack that little piece that Lamont
Yeah.
had.
Everybody's
So
different, and styles make
everybody's
fights.
different. So you
Style
can't.
makes fights.
I can never. Once I learned that about fighting, the triangle theory doesn't work.
Yeah.
He beat him. He beat. It doesn't. That shit don't work in fighting. Because I seen a guy that got his ass kicked by all of us knock out the toughest kid in the block, and he lost to all of us. The day that the biggest dude got into an argument, one punch quitter, boop, he was out. I was like, and I whooped his ass. I was scared of him. He knocked him out. I'm like, oh shit, like right. The triangle
Yeah.
theory doesn't always work.
Yeah, maybe that's you know, I just say it
Yeah,
because the the reputation that Lamont Roach has now. He's now, for example, Joe Rogan's like, oh, I never heard about this Roach fellow. Oh, he fights nice or something like that. It's like now,
they gonna get Lamont Roach fucked up. If you want me to be honest,
like yeah,
they
it's
gonna
like
get him fucked up.
it's like you know what I mean. It's
They got Lamont Roach really believing he's a 135 pounder.
yeah,
That
and
his
it's
next
like
fight should be
yeah,
Shakur.
or Keyshawn.
Yo, they're gonna get him rocked.
You know what I mean? And
They
and
gonna get
and
him hurt.
and I can admit one. I can get fooled by this, the triangle theory. Oh, he beat him. No, no, that doesn't really work in boxing.
Right.
But but what we can say about this has been good for boxing. It had,
Mm,
this has
very
been good for
good.
box. You know what I
Very
mean? Been really
interesting.
good.
Very good.
Controversy makes people talk more about this.
Yeah.
I
No.
have family members that are not as they don't watch boxing as much as I do. Ask me questions. Oh, what is you know what I mean? So it's good for boxing because now it kind of puts Tank in a corner. It's like you really want to retire that early? Now he said now I got 4 fights instead of 3 fights.
Right. Right. Now. Now. When look, my man right here, Bob Jack right here says Lamont won, and I can, feel the boxing world lashing back at Tank Davis. And they had a poll on somebody's big, like ESPN, some type, a big channel. 21% said Tank Davis, the draw was merit. 57% of the population said Lamont Roach won the fight. Now, at the time, the poll, the amount of people that voted was over 160,000 people. That's how big the poll was. I can't remember where I was watching this yesterday. I was all over the place, everywhere, watching everything. So, but I saw it. So that's an overwhelming amount of people that think that Lamont Roach won this fight. And I think that the boxing world and the powers that be are hearing us. I think the best solution to this problem is to order the fight again.
Yeah, the rematch.
The rematch.
And I asked you
Like,
this
yeah.
because people say that Roach got his number, and it's kind of hard for me to believe that because maybe that was I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying like adjustments can be changed, and a Tank is not going to fight the same fight how he did the first time around.
Okay.
How,
Oh, all right.
you know,
Before you
yeah,
answer
talk.
that,
Go ahead, talk
I,
about
I
it.
I need because now you're my boxing brother, and I'm not gonna leave you in the dark, Carlos. Because you need to be informed because I want you to make a better the proper. So when you're talking with your homies, you more like just in case you didn't know, it's not just the fact that Tank Davis and him fought in the amateurs. Throughout their professional career, Lamont Roach has been Javante Davis' sparring partner in several boxing matches. He used him to prepare for other guys. Lamont Roach is very familiar with Tank Davis. So much, in fact, that that's exactly why I think he fought him on that night the best. He had so much time with Tank Davis. He knows his mannerisms, the little things he does. He was studying him the whole time. Just like when Jermaine, the technician Ortiz, fought Loma. A lot of people thought he won. And we were like, wow, how the fuck did Jermaine, a fighter with only this many fights, do that to Loma? He was Loma's training partner, Jermaine, for 3 years. He sparred with Loma for 3 years. Jermaine, he's from Worcester. He goes to the gym I go to, Jermaine. I know all about that situation. So when you think of this and this performance, where did this performance come from Lamont? Where at 130, he's not known as a big puncher. He's not known as a great fighter. You know, he lost his share of fights or whatever, you know, and he wasn't that good of a fighter. But what made him look that much better was the familiarity with Tank. He's real familiar with him, Papi. And when you fight a guy enough, that's why when I had to sit back the next day and figure it out. Why didn't Tank Davis make any adjustments? Why did he just keep doing the same thing? And it started to hit me. Tank didn't feel like he could make an adjustment because every time he made an adjustment in sparring, Lamont, and so Tank was all out of tricks. He couldn't go into his bag anymore. Lamont had seen it all, and Tank had nothing. You know when I got really nervous for Tank? You want to know the defining moment in the fight when I knew Tank lost the fight? When Tank started talking to him. Tank started talking to him and started saying, yo, right, like right here, boom. Tank was trying to fight his ego. He was trying to get...
He even said, you know they're not going to give it to you. And Lamar was like, what?
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. Tank said that to get into his head to make Lamont fight him so that Tank can knock him out. What Lamont Roach needed to do was stay within himself. Keep calm. Don't listen to Tank. Don't do anything stupid. Stay the course. Mental discipline. Staying the course for 36 minutes. Not allowing the guy to talk you into doing something stupid. Now you're fighting his fight. Tank couldn't beat him. Tank started saying, you know, if you go to decision, they ain't going to give it to you, because he wanted Lamont to stand in front of him. That's when I knew Tank lost the fight. Yeah. He had nothing left. He had nothing to go in the bag to try to, like, you know, any trick punch. Lamont seen it all. And he was shutting that shit down. And Tank was lost. He really was. And I mean, the second se me pararon los pelos, bro. I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, Tank's gonna lose this fight. In my head, I said that. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, he doesn't know, he's lost. And Tank didn't know what to do.
If they announce the rematch, right? I think Tank says something like, like the end of May. So this question can go with what the other topics like you was talking about, and I want to talk about too. Will that month of May of 2025 be the greatest month of boxing?
It just might be.
Friday, Tio, Haney, Ryan. Saturday, Canelo, Alvarez. Sunday, Inoue, and towards the end of May, Tank and Lamont Roach Part 2. Woo! Man, listen.
I mean, the month of May, see, that's the fucked up thing. That's the fucked up thing with boxing, right? They go and do some shit like this, and for the rest of the fucking year, we're like twiddling our fingers, like we don't know what to do because all the greatest boxing men, like you're not gonna be able to eclipse that. You know what I mean? But hopefully they'll keep us entertained. Because Naoya, in a way, he'll be back in September and then closing out in December. So that's my guy, right? So I'm just like, glad that he's staying so fucking active right now. So that month is gonna be ridiculous, and then You have Naoya Inoue in September with MJ, and I just want him to shut him up. So like,
Right.
but the month of May has to beat that Riyadh cards. Has to. Like for because in the month that Riyadh card, I think the two cards that kicked off at the same. What was it? Was it that AJ and Tyson Fury shit? There was one month there was two big fights in. I remember. What was there? What? But this month of May is probably gonna dominate. Yeah, I don't see no other. Just 1 month, not a part of a year, not 2 months. One particular month, the month of
And
May. There's
back to
not gonna
back to back. Oh
there's not
man,
gonna be a month like that in
nah.
2025. No, I don't think so.
We are blessed.
That
We
is
are blessed.
amazing. Yo, I wanna try if I can. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those situations where I was with the Supriya Matias fight with Naoya Inoue again. Remember, I wanted to go to New York, but I couldn't prove if he was gonna be there. And then the cabron was there, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then
Oh man.
I went to Puerto
Hey,
Rico for the Supriya fight. So I
it's the
kind of want,
Friday
huh?
free for the public. I don't. Can you explain me that?
Okay, so I wanted to go down Friday to Times Square because it was gonna be outside, free to the public.
Yeah.
At one point in the fight, the media is gonna be like, let's say from 11 to 12 or 1 o'clock, it's only the media. So the media gets in there, they take all their pictures, write their stories. Then that's when their deadline cuts, and then from there it's to the open public. They'll go outside, they'll have like a ring in the middle, and or they'll be walking around in the back, and but they'll open the doors to the public, and they'll have what Teal did with Punch Drunk today, with when he was arguing with the fan.
That
That's
was
the
funny.
public. That's the public.
Yeah.
That's the part they usually don't film. So he's trying to act all gangster, like I'm from Harlem and everything. And my man was standing over here. He had a different view from it. The guy he's arguing is behind like one of those metal things like that.
That
There's
was far
mad
away.
there's mad security.
Yeah. It's like yeah.
Right. So he's just acting up because the principal's there. You know what I'm saying? You know
What's
those
your
guys.
opinion? I mean, you kind of talked about it, but Tio low key, ronco. Like he was like, I'm the only champion in this
Oh,
conference right now.
you
You a ring
roasting him.
magazine, but Ryan got mad. It's like, man, shut up. We don't care. Shut up. Shut up. Like, man, dude,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Yo, Teal's a fucking. He's something else, man. But he does a lot and says a lot of fucked up shit, right? He just doesn't have a good humor. He doesn't know how to be funny in a charismatic way. When it comes out of his mouth, it's more like, bleh, you know what I mean? It's like
yeah, it's more like
fucking
vomit.
vomit, right? So, but that noble thing he did with Arnold Barboza, I can't stop talking about it. The
Man,
way
I
he
don't.
caught that, the way he caught it, because big champions like Arthur, they didn't catch on to it. He's in the ring promoting that fucking piece of tin, a undisputed tin belt that means absolutely nothing. That shit got made up in the back room by Maria with fucking leather, like fucking. It was a piece of garbage. That should have never been allowed in the ring with the Alphabet Boys. That's what you were fighting for. When Teal told him, bro, the fan told Teal, why don't you look him in the eye? Teal said, tell him to take that bullshit off his shoulder and I'll look him in the eye.
Yeah, I
And
don't. Yeah,
Arnold passed it off. I think, to Bernal Hoppin. I don't know who that was there. I wasn't paying attention to him. I just kept looking at Teal's eyes and Arnold Barboza. I wanted to see how focused Arnold was. And Teal was like, yeah, now I'll look at you. And that was it was something subtle,
Eh,
but so strong.
you think like Like, you think Barbosa's gonna give Tio a hard fight?
No,
Man, it's just I don't like Barbosa, man, for real.
I think
He boring.
well, it's not that he's boring. He's calculated at this point of his age. He might have lost his step, and what he lost in his step, he gained in experience. Barboza will wait you out. As you can see, that's Jack Catterall's game, and he beat him at his own game. That 1-2 he got straight coming down the pike against Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall didn't make no adjustments, and he had no answer for that. Tio is a better dimensional fighter than Jack Catterall
And more athletic.
and more athletic, yeah, and stronger puncher. Um, Tio can, look, what I consider Tio is the type of fighter that he had God-given talent and he trained to a certain point where he started winning the big fights. And I think he really felt that he knew everything he needed to know. There was a lot more to boxing. With every fight, you're supposed to learn something. Sometimes the fighter really thinks he knows it all. And for a long time in Tio's performances, what we were seeing was just Teofimo Lopez coming out trying to fight the same exact way.
You seen you
And
seen you
yeah,
see Tio and Hitchens barking at each other?
yeah. And the thing is that I think that Tio really got honest with himself, him and his father, and they went to Eddie Espinoza, Saul Canelo Alvarez's coach,
Yeah.
and they teamed up with him. That's the first step of me acknowledging Tio's serious about getting better now. He went and got a real coach with a real snack system in place for all his fighters. You know what I'm saying? So Tio got hooked up with him. And
So did Ryan.
so did Ryan. So all the snack guys are familiar with each other. Saul's giving the class how to inject it. I mean how to
Oh, nah, man.
yo. So right? Nah, I'm not saying they cheaters over there, bro. They're honest fighters. But he did get the assistance. That was just a joke. He did get the assistance of a good head coach, Tio.
Yeah.
And I like that move. So what I'm actually looking for in Teofimo Lopez is improvements. When I see him against Arnold Barboza, I want to see the new improved Tio. What disciplines are he starting? Because you didn't have to teach Tio how to fight. It's not like you have to break him down and reteach everything he knows. No, he's a pretty decent fighter. Just you got to tweak it a little. So it wasn't a
I
hard assignment.
I think Eddie Reynoso is gonna help Tio really sit
Yeah.
down with his punches, his
Yeah,
punch
I think
selection.
so. I'm trying to tell the people.
Yeah.
I think Tio's going to start Arnold Barboza. My
Ooh,
brother thinks Arnold Barboza is going to win the fight.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, my brother got Arnold Barboza and Bam Bam. I was talking with Bam Bam today, and Bam Bam got Arnold Barboza in the fight too.
Is
Yeah.
that they're picking Barbosa because they don't like Tio as a person, or
Huh?
they're I'm just saying they're picking Barbosa because they don't like Tio as a person.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
I
I
think
understand.
most fans are turned off by Tio's antics and they're forgetting about the fighter he is. I
Yeah,
know I've seen that fighter in that night with Loma on that night, bro. I
me too.
saw that fighter in the ring with Josh Taylor.
Me too.
I saw him. I saw that man show up. I know he has a history of fighting the Klajiks and not really stepping up. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of like Tio needs that big name to really get him out of bed early or something, you know?
yep.
And it
To
can
lift that
happen
fire.
to fighters. It can happen to fighters, but his mouth or some of his performances will not blind me to the fact, the potential in the fighter I think you really are. And in this situation, if Arnold Barboza beat Jack Catterall with a 1-2 straight down the middle, I don't think you can beat Tio like that. And that's merely what I'm saying. Unless you got something better than that, my man. And you can, like, you
I think,
know,
I mean, Tio's gonna be too quick for
he's going to
Barboza.
be too much, bro. He's going to
Yeah,
break
he's
him
gonna be too
down.
quick. Yeah,
Some of these
man.
people think that Arnold Barboza is going to win this fight. So I'm like,
No, what I seen of Barboza, man. Listen,
and I
but
look,
like,
I
yeah,
told I told my brother, you got the right to your opinion. Go ahead, puppy. I'm sorry cutting you off.
no, no, you good. Just like with the Haney and the Ramirez, I think Ramirez is he don't got he don't. I know he was a former unified
As
champion.
quiet as kept,
He was quiet, but I don't
listen,
think
listen,
you
as
think
quiet
you
as
think
kept.
he can
What?
rock Haney. He can get to
What?
Haney. I don't know. I don't know. I
What?
don't think so.
Well, hold on. As quiet as kept, the toughest fight on that entire card is the Devin Haney fight.
Really, over Tio and Barboza?
Yo, listen, no, puppy. That's not what I mean.
Okay.
This is what I mean. Maybe it is what I mean. Let me check with you, right? What I'm saying is Tio's competition versus Arnold Barboza and Ryan Garcia versus Rolly and Devin Haney versus
Ramirez.
Martinez, right? Um
Ramirez.
sorry, fucking me and names. Ramirez, right? Um, I think Devin Haney got the worstest fucking pick out of them all. Because to tell you the truth, I know Ramirez is, you know, he's been around the block for a while. He fought good and great fighters. I
Yeah.
don't think his knees and his legs are once what they were, right? Um, but I have this gut feeling, right? There comes a time, sometimes it never happens, sometimes it does. It comes a time in a fighters, they got one good fight left in them. Them old fighters, they have that one banged out fight left. Something, I don't know what it is. From the moment the fight was announced, I was like doing something. They said Darren Haney versus Ramirez. And I went, hell no. Something told me in my, like, ooh, Devin. But it might be good for the young man. For Devin. Maybe Ramirez will bring the type of fight that can solidify Devin Haney not only a win, but a win that you feel you deserved and that you really fought for. It wasn't something easy that can really boost your morale. Like, say you're in there when he's giving you a tough fight, and you're like, you know what? I'm not losing this fight. Somewhere in the middle of the fight, like in the 6th round, something, and Devin Haney gets up and he goes through that moment where that he's like, win or lose. And if something just snaps and Devin comes out, whap, 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 and drops him and is like, come on,
Yeah.
Ryan, now you're next. And then
This,
like he needs something like that. Devin doesn't need a fight where he goes and knocks him out in the 1st round. That's not gonna do nothing for you.
he wants a little. I get what you're saying. He wants resistance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like so I'm not saying that Devin can lose the fight. I'm just saying when I heard the name, I was like, ooh, that's dangerous. I was like, but I like it. I like it. And I was like, Devin should beat him. I don't think his legs and his knees, once again, I'm saying it. I don't think he can keep up with Devin. Keep
No, he can't.
moving. I don't know. I don't think so.
Hell no.
He's going to
He's
try
gonna
to
get jab
stand
all
there.
night.
Right. He's going to try to stand there and he's going to give Devin good in exchanges.
Yeah.
It's what I need. It's what I need. Right. So what I need is, you know, for Devin to get to that moment where he feels like he knocked out somebody, you know, formative, and he really beat him. And I want him to get his confidence up. So when he goes back to relive it, the Ryan Garcia fight, he's not like a deer in headlights. He doesn't get flashbacks in the fight and gets hit crack hard by Ryan and then shells up because of fear of losing. So, I just want Devin Haney to get that fire back that I know he can. And when you look back at the Ryan Garcia fight with Devin Haney, a lot of people were like, oh, Devin wasn't hurting Ryan. No, that's not true. Devin hit Ryan with one good punch. Remember when Ryan went back and smacked his gloves together? Remember that moment in the fight? Devin hit him, boom, and Ryan went, oh shit, and went back, and then he went, and he hit his gloves together.
Yeah.
So it was obvious Devin got his attention.
Is that fight
whether or not he's going to be able to land that at more rate? Like if he can hit him with that, and I'm not saying he's going to knock him out, but he hits Ryan with a shot like that, boom, and then Ryan gets crazy, hits him with a shot again, boom, with the same power. You want it again? Here it is, boom. But you have to have the ability to keep hitting him with shots like that. You'll break Ryan down, and Devin can get the win.
You think that Ramirez fight is going to be a welterweight? Is it? Did they announce it's going to be welterweight or catchweight?
No, it's going to be at 147.
Oh, 147. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be at 147 from what I.
So two out of the three fights that day is going to be at 147. Teal's going to be the only one at 140. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is going to be one of the first times we see in boxing where that the sanctioning body. When's the last time you saw the interim fight the champion? When's the last time you ever seen that?
That's a good question. I think this is the first time.
It's good that the WBO is mandatorying the fight, and
I like the WBO. They're being very consistent.
Yeah, they're starting to be more, and they took away William Cepeda's ranking because he denied the fight. They said, well, then if you don't want to fucking represent our organization when we keep asking you to take these fights, well, then you're going back to the back of the line.
Yeah.
They're trying to clean up boxing, man, in their own way. And I love that because the WBO, they're taking small steps to bring back boxing to the glory days. And I think some of these organizations should follow suit. I think that the 12-pound or 15-pound rehydration clause should be implemented to all belts so that the fighters are fighting more around their natural weight. Rather than you being 180 and want to fucking cut down to 154. Rather you being 154 and want to cut down to 122.
I think I could do it.
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
And then and when you get in the ring and you te mata just to get all that water out of you, you're fighting a guy you feel is small because in real life, you fight dudes mad bigger. So it's kind of like the phrase.
It's an unfair advantage.
Where that everybody's saying they're all doing it. They're all weight bullies.
Yeah.
But if you implement this rule to all the belts, I believe that can keep the fighters honest. You'll see a lot of fighters leaving divisions and finally fighting in the divisions that they're meant to fight in. The reason why a lot of fighters started that cutting weight thing and not fighting their normal weight division, it's simple. Not everybody was born with a massive right hand. So what happens is, I might be a natural 154 pounder, but I don't got 154 pounder power. So I got skills. I just can't crack like the top 154 pounders. So what do? You cut weight and you fight at 140. You pass two weight divisions, 147, 140. By the time you cut weight and fighting at 140, you should have all the power you need to fight those guys because you're naturally a 154 pounder. See, and then that's how you can get the false impression that these guys are power punchers. Then all of a sudden they move up one weight division, Shakur Stevenson, and I don't have no power because you got all the skills, you got the size, and this is where you're supposed to be fighting. But you never fought in this division because you knew the very thing that plagued your career. As you got bigger and you played with the big boys, those are stronger chins to crack. You don't got that kind of power now. That's like when the day you figure out that weight is real, right? Say you fight somebody your own size in the neighborhood. You beat him up, pop, 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 even hit him with a good shot, give him a nice shiner. You're like, yeah, that's my power, right? And all of a sudden, that fat kid comes up.
Oh man.
That fat kid that is just that much taller than you, your same age, but
Oh
he's
man.
like, you're like all of 112 pounds, 115 pounds as a kid at 11, 12 years old.
Oh man, you
Here
give me
comes
a
the,
flashback from second grade, man.
listen, this fucker comes up. He's all about 12 years old, 185, all 5'1" of them, right? Right? So you guys are, so you punch, you haul back and you punch him. Bow! Until you realize, yo, I was just playing, bro. That shit did nothing to him.
Yeah.
You're too light in your ass. You don't got enough weight behind you to move him. That's the day you realize, fuck, weight matters. This fat kid might not know how to fight better than you, but eventually he's gonna grab you. You or your punches are not effective. All he has to do is just go in the windmill and just bludgeon you. No skills. He was just bigger than you. That's when
Most
you
def-
realize, fuck, skills, sometimes at a certain point, you could be Bruce Lee. But Andre the Giant grabs Bruce Lee, guess what's going to happen?
Oh
Guess
man.
what's going to happen? There
He's
will
gonna
be no
drink.
more Bruce Lee.
He's gonna crack them open like those beer cans he used to
and,
drink.
and Andre the Giant is not a fighter. He's not going to look anything skilled. It's just going to be like, you know what I'm saying?
He's a giant, man. He lifted
You're
up a
not
car
at,
before.
yo, you just, that's why we have weight divisions for a reason.
That's why the saying goes is saying a great little guy cannot beat a good big guy, something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes, like, you can get this miscrew perception, right? When you see like a TikTok video and you see this little dude knock out this big dude, you're like, oh shit, look, see, if he can do it, I can do it. All right. Here's the problem with that scenario, right? Both of you got off your couches. Neither of you are training. It was just a regular street fight. My man had a little punch behind him. This dude is not trained to take a punch. He hasn't never, he just assumes he can because he's big. He hits him right on the button, knocks him out. Now let's play this thing over again. What happens? You go outside, this big guy gets out, but the difference between this big guy, he trains.
Oh man.
He works out every day. He's in shape. And he fights guys his size, and he conditioned himself to take punches. So if you punched him, his body's not going to go into shock. He's used to taking punches. That's like the homie in the corner. We in the boxing gym, we used to know that all the time. These dudes used to think that a pair of Jordans, sunglasses, and a hat made you a gangster. And that somehow, by you buying the new latest bomber jacket, that your toughness increased by 10%. So now you're willing to fight anybody because of your bomber jacket. But what happens in reality is if you run up on a real boxer, he's going to make you look really bad.
When you was talking about the size difference and stuff like that, I just remember what's today? Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Tuesday, I was playing basketball.
Yeah.
The weather started to get a little bit better, warmer. And you know what I mean? I went outside to play some hoops and went to the court. And I remember, it's my team against another team, and one of my friends, he's He was my teammate. He was like, "Hey man, I want you to be more aggressive to get these boards, to get these
Yeah,
rebounds." I'm like, man, in my mind, I'm like, I don't. The guy guarding me, I don't want. He's short. I'm not trying to hurt him. Real.
yeah,
Listen to this. So the game was getting close, and I think it was the offensive rebound. I don't know. I was going for the rebound, so I jumped and I grabbed it. He jumped with me. I don't know what happened to him. By the time he came down, he fucked up his kneecap,
damn.
and he had to been lifted up and I don't know, taken to the hospital. I felt so bad. I'm like, man, I'm like,
Because of
I
little,
was going for the ball, and
yeah, he too little.
he too
And
little.
and the thing is that, like, there's gonna it's just true. That's why we have weight divisions. That
Yeah,
size at a certain point matters. That's what we're trying to tell the boxing world with Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. Although Terrence Crawford is a real skilled fighter, that's not the version of Terrence Crawford you'll see at 168. It'll never be the version. I don't even think it's going to be 30% of them, to tell you the truth. But I'll let the boxing world have their own opinion because, since I'm a fighter and I've been in gyms, I know how hard it is for a person to move just one and still look the same. And since there's never in history been a man to do this and not even look 10% of the man he was at the lower weight division, just it's unhuman like shit. It's something that it
that everybody can accomplish.
no, and I can't even comprehend it. The fact that they're pulling this over on all the boxing fans, and boxing fans are like eating it up.
It's eye candy. That's the thing. It's eye
Yeah,
candy,
it's
and
because
you know,
I think that the boxing world is more in love with the names. Terrence
yeah,
Crawford, Saul Canelo. That's all you gotta say. That fight's gonna fucking make $1 billion, bro. Their two
a
names by
billion,
themselves, hell yeah. That's just gonna make
man.
$1 billion, bro. That
How
fight.
much? How much you think Turkey's gonna keep the same price tag for
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
Friday Saturday fights?
yeah. He should too. Because it's
Because
he's
he not to cut you off. He said something about Tank's fight. He's like, man, $80 and look at that circus show, something like that. He said,
yeah, he's killing it with $25. And I think that's the right marketing way to go about it, right? So I just think that their names are so big that the world is going to tune in regardless. It's going to be
yeah,
Terrence Crawford and Saul. But the reality of it, of the fight, um, there's a part of me that doesn't like that Saul Canelo Alvarez has all the advantages on his side. And I don't view this as a fair fight for Terrence Crawford. I think they're setting him up. And I don't like the fact that, at least my thing was, I wanted to see Terrence Crawford walk away undefeated like he deserves. He fought all the people he needed to fight. You can question anything you want about his career, but he fight and he won the fights he needed to win. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
It's gonna take for him to sell his O for a whole bunch of money, which was worth it in
Hey, man, that's
actuality.
generational wealth. It's generational
It's
wealth.
fucking worth it, and I get it. I'm not saying what he's doing is wrong, Terrence Crawford, because for that much money, brother, fucking right, I would have did it. Would it have been the
Don't you?
right thing to do? No.
I think, I think we're in a state of boxing right now, and I think it's pretty good. I
Yeah,
think,
no.
I
Oh,
think, I think,
absolutely.
I think that the perfect record, the now that Tank got a blemish on his record, is going out the window, and now fighters is like, and F it, man.
Mm,
Forget about
well,
the O's. Fight to have a fight to make sure that you're getting paid handsomely, and
Yeah, like
and
Dr. O.
that yeah, and that you can have all your, you know, all your mind, or you're healthy at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, yeah. All the fighters can say that except Naoya anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because I think he's gonna
What
he's
about
gonna
Yusuke?
retire undefeated.
No,
I
Yusuke.
but
Yusuke's gonna be retired undefeated. He got two more fights. Who gonna
he
beat him?
ain't nobody beating that man. But anyway, until they do, I'm rocking with him. But the thing is this like you know, look, I see what Terrence Crawford did. At first, I was a little taken back by it. It was a little distasteful for me because I didn't want them to beat my American guy like that. I didn't want Terrence Crawford to lose this way, not like this. I wish if they made this fight, they made Saul Canelo Alvarez sacrifice a little bit. Maybe you might have to come down one weight division, Saul.
You
160.
want a catch weight?
No, just one come to 160. And you're at 168, he's at 154. You come down to 160 and he comes up to 160. Now we got ourselves a fight a little bit more even. You're sacrificing and he's gaining. But for him to go all the way up to Saul's weight class, where you're the fucking champion at, this is your weight division. So all the sacrifices are coming from Terrence Crawford, not Saul. Then you and your team waited Terrence Crawford out. Yo, people don't see this shit. You know, I don't blame you, but I do. They strategically waited Terrence Crawford. So by the time that he shows up to that fight, he'll be 38 years old. They
That's
also had him go a fucking year on top of since he fought
He's been inactive
Najmal.
though.
Huh?
He's been inactive,
Right. For a year.
and he's gonna be inactive for another year.
Bro. So
Being
look,
38 at that fight date.
everything is against them. Like what's up, Carlos? How you
But
doing?
it's
Like
it's it's true what you're saying. But this is what he wants. He don't want no Virgil
I know, I
Ortiz.
know, I know,
He
I
don't
know.
want no Bakram. He don't want no Fundora. He want payday Canelo Alvarez and
Now, now, now,
get
now, now. Right. You know me, Carlos. First, let me break down the ugly, and then I'm gonna give you the why.
okay.
When I was telling you,
Give me the pros and the cons. You already
right,
said the cons.
you
Go. Let's go with the pros.
that's what I always say. The fucking money, them zeros must look crazy. That shit must look ridiculous, right? That it was enough zeros behind that fucking number. Terrence said, "I'll do it." You know what I'm saying?
You know those papers when you got a 0 0 and then you got to unfold it and it becomes more 0 0s.
Yeah. And it just that's what Terrence's check looks like. So listen, that's when I started thinking the pros, cons and the pros. These are the pros. I started thinking, Edwin, if you were in boxing and you had it your way, what good is it to fight all these fights, make good, decent amount of money? You could say you're a millionaire, but what good is it to make yourself this kind of champion that you can't sell your product to a world stage and capitalize at the highest market? That's what it's all about. You did what you had to do in your career, Terrence. And in that regards, if this is your final farewell, that's
Yes, it's
exactly
final.
when you do it. This is exactly when you're supposed to take that big fight. This is what we tell fans. You're not supposed to fight Jake Paul in the middle of your career. Your last fight, yeah, you could fight Jake Paul. Now, if Terrence Crawford did everything he needed to do, and he feels that he did, he's a 4 division world champion, unified in 2 separate weight divisions, the first man
Hmm.
in history to ever do it. What more do you want this man to do? So
At
when I
age
started
38.
at the age of 38, there's nothing left.
That's
So
why
when
I
I
think it's gonna be
started,
his last fight.
so when I started viewing it that way, This is 100% the best option for Terrence Crawford, and he should take this fight.
You
You
know,
see, now when my purist, the purist inside of me about boxing, I wish he just retires the best, Terrence, and no blemish. And when it was all said and done, I couldn't wait for him to retire so that when he goes to the Hall of Fame, there's another American super champion, the Andre Wards, the Mayweather. And although I already know this, Carlos, you know I say this a
yeah,
lot, that Mayweather's record 50-0, although prestigious, it's only personal. There's no
it's a yeah.
award. There's no award in the world they give you or a record for retiring 50-0. That's just you saying no one beat me. But it's not like when you retire at the award ceremony, they go, and the award goes to 50-0 Mayweather. They've never done that. It
Can I
doesn't
say
count.
something? Yeah,
That
let
don't
me say
count for
something real quick.
nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
Um, Regardless, Crawford's gonna, if he retires after this fight, he's gonna retire as a great fighter. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't
I
got
know, I
no
know,
I
I know.
don't
I
got
see
no
that.
ill will for his say. I'm going with
Nah.
Canelo because Canelo. That's just my pick. But
Yep.
anyways, that's what I'm not here to talk about. If
Right.
we look back at Terrence Crawford's career, like you said, four
Yep.
division champion, two
Nah, he
divisions
did everything.
undisputed. Not only that, at 147, being the second longest reigning champion male at the welterweight division. Am I
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Because number one is Trinidad by a couple more months, but we're not gonna talk about that.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, that,
And
no, not
who's the longest reigning champion
Errol
as the
Spence
welter?
Jr.
No, not more than Trinidad
Yes, more than Trinidad. The problem is the
for seven
reason why.
years.
Yep,
But look it up.
I don't have to. You can look it up, but I'm going to tell you why. I've already looked this up.
All
Trinidad
right.
has Trinidad has the longest reign, yeah, and the most active. This motherfucker broke the record because he flipped his car and he was inactive for almost 4 years, and that all
Oh
counted.
man.
That's
Oh
how he
man.
beat him. That's how he legitimately beat Felix Trinidad. But he was on the couch. He was an inactive fighter. But the record books are going to show he was the longest one.
Really? No, man.
Yo, I swear, bro.
No
Trinidad
puede
is the
ser.
brother. Trinidad is the most active, and he
Active.
has the better run. He was actually fighting. This motherfucker was up in the hospital bed for almost 2 years, right? Inactive, fighting Danny Garcia and Uzi. I mean, the Cuban fighter,
Yeah, Ugas. Yeah, Uga. Yeah.
Ugas. Yo, that past 7 year span.
That can't count though. Man, just
Yo, puppy, I've been in this
recovering.
argument before. I've
Oh
been in this
man.
argument. But Trinidad is the legitimately, Trinidad is the best. But the record books, when you read a record, how long were you champion for? This is the date your championship reign started, and this is the date it ended. Nobody's gonna want to argue in between. Just the first date and the back date. And
Thank you,
Errol's
Bang
date.
Man. Bang Man just commented. He said, longest reigning world welterweight champion, Felix Trinidad. 6 years, 8 months,
8 months
14
and
days.
14 days. Awesome. Look up Errol Spence Jr.'s reign. Controversial. I don't give him a credit for it, Errol Spence Jr., because he's not retired yet. He's still actually an active fighter. So since Cheeto Trinidad retired, he's the longest reigning. But when Errol Spence Jr. retires, and that's when they tally up your career, I swear to God, if they try to pull, they're gonna try to pull it off. I bet you they are, and they're gonna try to say his reign was longer than Trinidad's.
We got to
And
protest
and
that.
and I'm gonna say, yo, I'll be the first one at the Hall of Fame. Like, yo, y'all tripping because this man laid in bed for over 4 years, 5 years through a spread of time, cataract surgeries and shit. And
Because
but he did have the 3 belts until he fought Terrence Crawford.
But
So
longer,
technically,
but he did have the three belts, but longer than Crawford's WBO world champion belt, longer than IBF world championship belt that
way
Trinidad
longer,
had. Oh no,
way
I don't
longer.
know, man.
Listen, look at the date. Errol Spence Jr. won the first belt. Look at the date that he won the first belt, and look at the date he lost them. He's the longest. Listen, it took Terrence Crawford 5 years to chase him down. When Terrence Crawford walked into the division from 140 to 147. And let's remind you that Errol Spence Jr. was the champion there for years before Terrence Crawford moved up. Where Errol Spence Jr. is on film telling him, "You're too little, Terrence." At someone's boxing event when Errol Spence Jr. had the red hoodie, he was already the champion. And Terrence Crawford never even entered the division yet. Since the time Terrence Crawford entered the division, it took him 5 years to finally fight him. So how many years was he champion before Terrence walked in? I'm trying to tell you his reign was longer, but it's bullshit.
If I'm okay, right here it says Bang Bang says, Errol Spence Jr. 6 years, 2 months, and 3 days. Terrence Crawford 6 years, 8 months, 1 week, and 5 days. They're disagreeing with you. I think Errol Spence won his first belt against what's that dude's name? That British dude.
Yo, check it out, right? Terrence Crawford's a motherfucker. Bam might be right. Check out how this play went. Terrence Crawford did the same thing Errol Spence Jr. did then, if I do the math. Okay, so if Terrence Crawford got 6 years in the division, right? That means it took him 5 years to fight Errol. That means he let those belts sit on the shelf for an entire year before he fought Ismail Majumdar, add on the 6th year. Inactivity. And before he fought him, he was fighting once a year. Felix Trinidad's record was probably way better than all of theirs. Felix Trinidad was an active fighter.
Yeah.
Consistently fighting top level competition. Felix Trinidad's run between Terrence Crawford and Errol is far more superior than Terrence and Errol's put together. I can guarantee you that much.
Is it true that I think Trinidad defended more times that belt?
Well, Terrence Crawford, right now, he has 19 consecutive world title fights. As of right now.
Yeah.
Felix Trinidad got 20, 21, 23 title fights. He has one of the longest running champion consecutive title fights, but what happens is there's a division he fought for no belt. He had a catchweight fight and it breaks the streak. And then he continues the streak and he wins like 6, 7 more times after that. But the minute you have a fight for no belts in between, whether you're moving up in weight, that counts. That fight was for no belts. When you're talking about Naoya Inoue has 24 consecutive world title fights, that's 24 consecutive fights. Either you were fighting him for his belt or he was fighting you for yours.
Ooh, I got a good question.
And all Naoya Inoue's, what makes his special, there are fighters that have way more title defenses in one division. What separates Naoya Inoue's record from every other man, he has 24 consecutive world title fights throughout 4 divisions.
Oh, I got a good question for you, man.
Go ahead.
It's gonna bring some turmoil, but I gotta ask you this question. But you brought up Inoue. Who you got in a dream fight in a
Naoya Inoue.
But hear me out.
Naoya Inoue.
Hear me out.
Naoya Inoue to anything you say.
Inoue or Wilfredo Gomez?
Why'd you do that?
I gotta do it. I remember you 122. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
All right, Wilfredo Gomez. If we're talking about one division, 122 pounds,
Yeah,
with
122.
122. That's the division that Wilfredo Gomez fought in, and ones that Naoya is in. We were talking about just one division. Wilfredo Gomez is a better champion in the division than Naoya Inoue is currently right now, even with his getting all four belts. That doesn't mean shit compared to what Wilfredo Gomez did in that division. So he's not a better super bantamweight champion than Wilfredo Gomez. No, he's not. Overall, he's a better champion than Wilfredo Gomez overall. Yes. Wilfredo Gomez didn't unify in two separate weight divisions.
Hmm.
He doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So when we're looking at it, you know, yeah, for one division, he's probably better than him in that because Wilfredo Gomez's record at 122 pounds is 100%. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
argue with 100%. All fights, all title fights are 100%. I can't put. How am I going to say you beat 100% when you got like 80%, right? And you've
I'm
been
sorry.
dropped. You got dropped in that weight class.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I had to put you to the corner, man. I just wanted to, it
No,
just,
I got to keep it honest
you
though.
know what I mean?
I got to be on. No, I'm not. I'm never biased. I love Naoya Inoue. He's one of my favorite fighters. You
Yeah,
know
me
it,
too. Me too. I like him
but
too.
I'm not gonna
And
lie for him.
because as you know how the story goes when Rafael Gomez went up to fight
Yeah,
Salvador Sanchez at 126,
that was a bad night, bro.
Oh
Yo,
man.
listen, the fact that the man told him, verbally told him, by the time I'm done with you, your own mother's not gonna recognize you. And then went in the ring and did exactly that. That Wilfredo's mother did not recognize her own son from that beating.
Oh man.
Talking about talking shit and backing it up.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. He whooped my Puerto Rican dude's ass, bro. I gotta get a drink. Oh, you're making me drink, bro.
You- hey man.
Now you got me shaking up the drinks. You got the blood flowing. You got the blood. Jackie,
Hey,
chill out.
Jackie the
Oh
dog.
my God.
Hey,
You
I
got me
apologize.
talking about my favorite fighters and putting them against the
You
cruelty. I knew
you
it
know, hey,
was
I'm
gonna come, but
Puerto
I didn't think
Rican.
it was gonna be from one of my own. Oh my God. Yeah, like, pour me a double. Oh, shit.
I apologize. Hey, I'm Puerto Rican, man. But I like history. I'm a younger generation individual, as you probably can hear from my voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in my 20s, and it just really, honestly, like, it just interests me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
like Salvador
Yeah. Yeah.
Sanchez. He passed away, in a young age. And Rafael Gomez was a beast at 122.
Yeah.
And it was just fun because we brought out Trinidad. We brought out that you started it because you brought up anyway,
No,
and I'm like,
listen, no, 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 because I consider the Trinidad the best one. What happened was I was doing some story. Forgot what it was. Go lay down. And I looked up Trinidad and I was like, wow, I had forgotten a lot of things that Trinidad has done in his career. And then when I started looking through it, he had the IBF for a long time. He was
yeah,
loyal to the IBF and they were good to him. They treated him good. And he was an amazing champion for the IBF. And then I started looking his stuff. Then one day, out of nowhere, I forget what it was. Some announcer in TV, he was an important dude, said Errol Spence Jr. is going down as the longest reigning. Well, and I was like, what? And the dude was breaking it down. He was the one that was saying, yeah, but he's going to get all that credit for flipping his car, laying up in a hospital, detached retina, no activity, and they're going to have to count it because he technically had the belts. And I was sitting back and I was like, no, Tito. And I was like, are you really going to try to take Errol's name and put it over Trinidad, a man that was more deserving, and it was the right way? And the only way Terrence passed Errol was that he let the belt sit on the shelf for a duration of a year just to get the amount of time to pass Errol.
Así cualquiera.
Right. Is this right or you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sitting back and I'm saying to myself, ¿pa qué te mata? Siendo real good fights, every time you walk into the ring, that means that the percentage-wise of Tito remaining the champion, he had more risk of losing. Because as we all know, every time you enter the ring, you're taking a shot of losing.
Yes.
If I'm on fucking in my house for 3 years, 4 years, collectively, meaning he probably wasn't in his house. I think it was like 2.5 years, the longest period. Then he got a fight. Then it was like another year. But if we add up all that time between surgeries, cataract surgery, the car, all of it, it's a big part of his reign. And I was hearing the guy talk. I'm sitting there going, holy shit balls. He might be right. And I'm like, his reign is suspect. And I was like, I don't want to win like that. I don't want my name in the record books with that much controversy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should acknowledge him, but I don't think they should award him the longest acting. They should say he had it from this time to this time. Just not because Tito was active, man.
Yeah, he was active.
So the whole time. So but when I first heard this argument, I was taken back by it because I could not deny that fucking time he's gonna count for Errol.
We are talking about, Rican fighters. I think it's right to talk about Subriel Matias now.
Yeah.
And I think I seen a video recently of Hitchens that asked, "Oh, are you gonna fight Subriel Matias?" And he said something like, "All I want is champions. If he's a mandatory, then I fight him. But I ain't ducking no one." Something like that. So, what did you take about Hitchens'
Here's
energy?
my take.
His
Here's my
energy.
take on that. Here's my take on his energy.
Okay.
Now you backed yourself into a corner. Meaning, if you fight anything less than a champion, then that means you just ducked Subriel. You didn't accept or don't want to accept the fight with him when he wasn't the number one. Then Subriel fought this fight that just passed, became the number one mandatory. So now it's going to be up to maybe now the IBF will put pressure on Richard Hitchison. And what's going to happen is it's going to be up to him to make one or two decisions. Either fight Subriel Matias or vacate the belt and move up, which in the next division, it's getting hot right now. A lot of new fighters are entering 147.
147 has been great.
There's a lot of big names up there. So he has one or two decisions to make now that Subriel Matias really turned up the heat by becoming the number one mandatory. So when Richard Hitchison, we can think back to some of the comments he himself made. I'm not making anything up. I'm just quoting his own words. And I quote, Richard Hitchison said, I don't want to fight Subriel Matias because I don't think I'm ready to make the weight with that 10-pound rehydration claw. And I cannot make this fight.
But not to cut you off, but I was hearing that he wanted to fight with Cambosis.
Hold on. Hold
Oh
on.
man, go
No,
ahead, go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, 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 no. This is before he won the belt.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and
true, true.
Subriel Matias had not yet fought Liam Paro at this point when he made that statement. He said he won the fight he needed to fight to become Subriel Matias is number one mandatory, right? Number one ranked. He never put in the paperwork to fight Subriel. So Subriel went and Richard Hitchinson said basically he ain't ready for Subriel. Subriel went and fought Liam Paro and lost. Richard Hitchinson's next fight was against Liam Paro. But wait a minute, I thought you said you couldn't make the 10-pound rehydration claw. Then all of a sudden, when the name changed, now you became the champion of the belt you said you couldn't fight for because it had a 10-pound rehydration claw. So by getting the belt, all your fights are 10-pound rehydration claw. But when it came up to Subriel Matias, the time to fight him, that was the excuse you gave why you could not fight him. Now I'm just quoting the statement that Richard Hitchinson himself made. The entire world knows this. It came out of his mouth. So now he wins the belt and he's all feeling good about himself. And he's like, yeah. They're like, hey, would you fight Subriel Matias? He's like, shit, I'll fight you, Bigfoot, and Subriel Matias at the same time. Right? He's feeling real good about himself.
Yeah.
Until Subriel won that fight and reality kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has to start making some choices, right?
Yep.
So let's
Bang
see where
bang
this goes.
bang bang boogie says Hitchens begging to fight the winner of the Tio and Barbosa
Yeah,
fight. He's trying to duck Matias fight at all costs. Unifications trump mandatories.
yeah, they do. And that would be the angle he would have to go. Then I guess Richard Hitchison would fight Teal. In a weird way, I think Richard Hitchison beats Teal. You know,
Really?
yeah,
I don't know. I
it's
don't
his
know.
style for me. It's his
I
it's
think
his it's his length. And Richard, yo, Africa can crack, bro. Let me tell you something, right? That's how I view it. You know, I don't think Barboza can beat Tio, and I think Tio can beat most of all those guys. For some weird reason, the way Richard Hitchison fought that fight against Liam Paro, and it was just his will not to lose. And
I don't I don't think sorry to I don't
yep,
think he's I don't think that unification with Tio is gonna happen. Not saying it's impossible. What I'm saying is like
it's not gonna
because
happen.
the fight is on May. How many months like after? No, man. I think the fight with Subriel can happen in June. I think around June or July or something like that. Because you're not gonna wait for Tio to get a
That's
unification fight.
that's exactly where I started the conversation from. That's what I said. I had already did all that math in my head, and I said, let's see if the IBF puts pressure on him now, because I don't think he's gonna have enough time to make any other fight. The most obvious fight is gonna be no, who's ready now is Subriel.
Yep.
You would have to wait for everybody else. So let's see if the IBF says, nah, either you fight Subriel or give us our belt. You know what I'm saying? Like they did to Usyk, like they did to Saul. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's why I started the conversation with that. And I was like, because I think Richard Hitchison is in a weird place where the other guys are not going to be ready for him to slither out. I don't
Yes.
think there's going to be another champion available without even giving the sanctioning bodies the excuse or the runaround. And Subriel's not getting any younger. So what I would assume, I'm not sure if he's done this yet, but in his place, it would only make sense to fill out the paperwork the night you fucking The minute you knock that dude out, I wanted my mandatory papers on standby to be sent over.
Yeah, he said it. He said it.
Right?
Super said it. He said, "Hitchens, I'm coming. I'm coming for you, motherfucker."
That's it. The minute
Oh
I
man, I
won
love
that
that. I
fight,
love it.
right? The minute I won that fight, I want my management, my promoters to allow to notify the IBF organization that I'm serious about my place in line. You know how they say this dude stood the number one because he never put in the paperwork. So he just stood the number one for a long time, waiting around to see if you would leave or lose, right? Trying to wait you out. Subriel is not trying to wait him out. I would have drove the paperwork there myself, right in front of the IBF. Yeah, what's up, bro? Yep. Mira, olvídate del mail. It's right here. Boom. I want my shot. So that's why I think that
Yeah,
let's see where the IBF puts
and
pressure on Richard Hitchison. Either way, we still keep the belt. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
We still keep the belt either way because whether Subiel wins or they're U.S. guys. So I'm cool with that because I'm actually really happy with Africa, Keyshawn Davis, and who else just won here?
Gary Antoine Russell. That's
Gary
another thing
Antoine Russell.
I
Right,
gotta say.
right. They just brought us 3 freaking belts. So
Um,
I'm like, hell yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
read this real quick. Bang Bang says, "Good point, Edwin. Hitchens has until June to have a fight signed, sealed, and delivered, or he has to fight the mandatory."
Here we go.
And you know something? I think Gary Antoine Russell is gonna have a unification fight with Alberto Puello because that's an in-house fight in PBC.
And it'll be a rematch because he got his ass kicked by Puello and he wants his get back. And
Yeah.
you can, not only can you get your get back, but a unification.
Oh
I
yeah.
like it.
I like it too, and I think I'm gonna have to go with Gary on the rematch.
I hope Gary whoops his ass. Yeah. Yeah. I want that belt to stay here. Fuck that.
Because it wasn't controversy how Puello beat Sandor. Some people said Sandor won. I wasn't too focused on that fight because I was watching the Subriel
No,
Matias
Sandor
fight.
lost that fight hands down.
Okay, okay, good. All
No,
right.
he lost it. You know what Sandor Martin is? I realized in that fight, it was that particular fight that I saw Sandor Martin for the fighter he is. Sandor Martin is a good fighter, bro. He has a good style about him. He'll bite down on the mouthpiece. He'll exchange with you. He has good evading too. Real deceptive, right? What he's not is a closer.
He don't got that power.
No, it's not that he don't need the power. He's not a closer. He
Oh,
doesn't know how to close a fight. When he was winning against Teo, what cost him the fight with the last few rounds. He couldn't
yeah,
close the deal. Same thing with Puello. He was actually winning in that fight. And Puello just started coming on the last few rounds. Sandor Martin don't know how to close a fight. You know what separated Teo from that Loma fight? He bit down on the gum shield and went forward and closed the fight like a champion. Sandor Martin did the same mistake a lot of fighters do, like Julio Cesar, Oscar De La Hoya did against Felix Trinidad. He
yeah,
ran the last 3 rounds and gave him the fight. Trinidad was losing that fight. So, so he's not a closer. And that's when I seen Sandor Martin for the fighter that he is. When he fought Puello, he was supposed to win that fight. Sandor Martin, he was doing the better in the exchanges, and all of a sudden, it didn't look like he was tired. It looked like he legitimately lost focus, thought he was up in the fight, and didn't know how to close the fight. He's
mm,
not a closer. If he knew how to close a fight, he beats Puello that night.
yeah. 140 is getting real
He
interesting.
don't know how to close, bro.
Yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
man. Man, it's been boxing is really being good. I think right now we have talk about more Puerto Rican fighters. Oscar Coyas is gonna fight. He has a fight coming up. Jean Rivera He's gonna fight with that the Venezuelan dude. I forgot his name.
Do you know if
Cordavo.
Collazo's fighting another unification fight, or is just to defend his two belts?
I think it's just to defend.
Okay,
I think after he defends this, I think it's gonna be another world title fight. I mean, world, fighting a
I
champion.
hope so.
I
I
hope
hope
so.
so. Yeah, he's
You
our
know what I mean?
strongest champion right now for Puerto Ricans.
Oh
Collazo.
yeah. Oh,
He's
most
our
definitely.
he's our strongest champion right now because we don't have any other unified champion but
Yeah.
him.
And
So
how and how you see that Yankel Rivera versus Cordavo, the
I gotta
Venezuelan
look.
fight.
I gotta look into that. I'm not gonna be fake
Yeah.
and try to break down a fight I know very little about. You know me. I keep it
Yeah.
real. I'm gonna tell you if I know about it, I do. If I don't, I don't.
Oh,
So, but I'm gonna
I
look
was
that up.
so
What else? What
I
about
was so
Xander Zion next fight?
that's something that's interesting because we're like I said, what's the WO's gonna do with the Fundora situation?
Well, some Fedor right now. Isn't he fighting Booker?
He
What's his
he
name?
has a fight really planned,
Yeah, he's
and
fighting Book. That dude. His
I
name is
feel like
Book.
I think Thunder Side is probably gonna fight for that vacant W that WO gets vacant because right now
Doesn't
Thunder
he have?
Side
Whoa. Let me look this up. I would have to look some shit up right now. Well, no. Terrence Crawford has the interim.
yeah he has the intro yeah.
Yeah, Terrence Crawford has the interim at 154, the WBO, and he has the WBA,
Yeah,
which
they gotta clean that up. I think yeah
because
they got
they got Charlo Twin, the champion in recess, to his WBA title, and then he's the interim of WBO. I'm like, if I was Terrence Crawford, I want no. I had to go down to the IWBA and I would demand them to take Jamel Charlos's name off champion in recess to my belt, so that I am awarded full championship status. I don't ever want someone to look back on my career and say, "Well, technically, you weren't really a champion at 154." He says, "How?" Because there was another man that had claim to your belt. How
the
could
heck
two
yeah.
people how could two people occupy the same title? And what are you both champion?
That's the Haney and Alberto Puello situation right
Yo,
there.
they can only be one, bro. I gotta cut your head off with a
Yeah.
sword. It's the Highlander shit. There
Bang
can
Bang.
only be one.
Bang Bang says that Amanda versus Katie 3 in
Three.
MSG.
Oh,
I
exciting.
I think Amanda finally wins and retires. Third time's a charm, hopefully, man. I
Yo,
want
Bam
Amanda to
Bam.
win.
Bam Bam. Listen, go fuck yourself, okay? All right? Check this out, right? The reason why I say that to you, Bam, right? I said that, I'm saying that 3 times already. The first fight, I said Amanda was gonna win. The second fight, I said Amanda was gonna win. And now you, cabrón, are gonna say that Amanda's not gonna win. Yo, bro, I'm like, this is fucking. I'm like,
I don't
I don't know what to think. Is she ever gonna beat her? Like, are they not gonna stop robbing her? Like, when do we think that the powers that be are gonna let Amanda beat this freaking girl?
oh man. It's
Like,
just
like how many times do we gotta see a robbery before we're like, no, Amanda, don't do it again. Don't, Amanda, the killer's behind the door. Don't open the door. Right? Right?
Bayman says that the fight will be on Netflix.
Oh, of course,
It's
of
gonna break
course.
records again. Clarissa still jealous.
Yeah, listen. Um,
She was at Puerto Rico for that Subrel fight with
let me
Papoose.
yeah, let me tell you something right now, right? And between female fighters, Clarissa Shield don't do shit for the other female fighters but herself. Look at me, look at me, look at all my accomplishments. I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the GOAT. So all Clarissa Shield does for the other ladies. Have you ever once, just in one interview, heard Clarissa Shield talk positive about any female boxer? Could anybody find just one video, a statement, without her being sarcastically, oh, she's good, blah, blah, blah? but really do something for women's boxing, for all the little girls that are coming up. Serrano is a true pioneer in female sports. The thing she's doing for all the other women, yo, it's so great in so many different ways. She is so selfish. She cares about the sport and the future of the sport. Amanda Serrano dedicates money to young girls training, building gyms, giving back to other female fighters. She fought this other white girl, I forgot her name. They were cool, they fought before. And
Yeah, the
Amanda
blondie.
found out behind the scenes she was in financial ruins. And that was something on the low. Amanda told her, yo, I'll bring you up. I'll even talk you up. I got you, girl. Like, we need to help out each other. And I need a fight anyway. Why don't you say you're a little over it? Come out and rock with me. I'll put this much money in your pocket. And she said to Amanda, the only way I'll take that fight, Amanda, you fight me with everything you got. And Amanda said, I won't hold back, baby. Let's do this. They went out there and rocked like real fucking fighters. It wasn't no gimme shit. She said, Amanda, the only way I'll fight you if you don't hold back. And Amanda made that girl a bloody mess. And they went in there and gave us a fight for the ages. And on the low, she was helping out her girl. But keeping it warrior code. Ain't no fake shit. I ain't giving you no break. You don't give me none. That was the deal. Amanda gives back, and she's making sure that after she leaves boxing, the contributions and the legacy of female boxing is in a better place than what she left it. Now, that is someone really doing something for their sport. And that's what I love to see.
Yes.
When the men and women give back to the sport, always taking, always saying, oh, I want a big fight. I line my pockets with this money. But when do you actually do something besides signing autographs, making appearances for yourself, giving people great fights? Awesome. Awesome. Look at everything boxing gave you for your skill. Would you give back to the boys club, buy a few boxing gloves, some mouth guards for the kids in the inner city that are coming up? Would you help them when you were that kid in the inner city and you wanted help? Would you give back to the sport? Would you help set programs so that referees can get better training? Or do you leave boxing the very way you came in? Fuck them. This is not my problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, what
Yeah.
changes or have you done? And that's what I talk. Like promoters, like Oscar De La Hoya as a fighter, fucking legendary fighter, right? Oscar De La Hoya as a promoter, great. He's a staple in boxing. But if your title, your job description says boxing promoter, just because you do boxing promoter shit doesn't mean you're giving back to boxing. You're just doing your job title. You schedule events, you sign fighters. I can't give you credit for doing exactly your job. What have you gone up and beyond to give back? Ali family, they got like fucking Ali library, fucking something, you know, they giving back. There's 100 fighters that give back every day in their own way. They retire, they become announcers, they're up there like, yo, man, I'm still giving to the sport, keeping the sport alive, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're
Bang
doing,
Bang says, Amanda
yep,
is a beautiful person on the inside and outside.
she is.
Clarissa La Fea.
I ain't going out. I'm not going to go there, but you can say it. I won't. You can say it. I won't. But I'm just recognizing the girls that are selfish sometimes. And there's some of the top women that I believe they got so much power. Yo, a lot of girls look up to Clarissa Shields. I know it.
It's a
And I
pride thing.
wish I wish she would be more receptive with the girls that are with her rather than like she has, if you really think about it, right? She has no reason to talk shit about Amanda Serrano. They're so far in weight differences, they would never fight, right? She's not even a threat to you. So why wouldn't you get along with one of your boxing sisters to promote your sport of boxing that we all know women boxing's been hurting for a long time? And until women like Clarissa Shields and Amanda Serrano, and there's a lot of great female girls coming up right now, and it's really like some of these girl fights are fucking pretty decent, man, and bloody. So I was like, why not help your girl out? Rather than when the microphone comes in front of Clarissa Shields, the first words out of her mouth are, I'm the GOAT, fuck her. She ain't shit. Yo, and she has no beef with Amanda. Like, she's not even a threat to you. You guys would never fight. And it's like, why do you not want to give your sisters?
One thing for sure, Bangy has said it. Clarissa gave us her bio documentary movie. You seen that movie? I ain't seen that. That was giving back to the sport, right?
No, that's giving back to her. She didn't make a documentary about all women in the sport. It was just a movie about her life. That's self-centeredness 101. How self-centered could you be? I haven't seen the movie. If, in fact, in the movie, she doesn't mention multiple women champions to try to give them recognition as well. If the movie was based on you and probably they mentioned the person you fought, you're just focused on yourself. How did you improve boxing with your movie? How? How did you do that and promote boxing? Yeah, the movie was just based off your life being a boxer. Like maybe inspiring other girls that are her fans, but female boxing in itself, what you're saying is you are female boxing. That's what you're saying. Female boxing is you, Clarissa Shields. And nobody needs to look any further than you.
That heavyweight fight she had, one fight for all the belts. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just a crazy situation, but I like how Amanda's doing it with the rest of these girls, and she really got these other girls to see her
Yeah,
vision, and they're on board with her, and
yeah.
they're like Amanda signing other fighters, female fighters. She signed a few already to MVP, and she's going to continue to try to give back to the sport. In Oscar's own weird way, he did give back to the sport. I know he did a lot of shit, but he had the Ringside magazine. He did some shit, but don't be fooled by the things he did. You buy the Ringside magazine for an investment and also to be able to control the narrative you want to put out for your fighters. If you own the Bible that people read, the Ringside magazine that's been around since 1920, 1921, you you can write history, so to speak. So it wasn't really about him giving back. It was just him getting upper hand. So don't be confused by somebody's tactics of buying something and trying to view it as, look at him, he's giving back. No, you're just corrupting the belt, the Ringside magazine, and you're giving it now to whoever you deem worthy. And it was, for a long time, it was a miracle that all the Ringside magazine guys, not all of them, but a lot of them, were all Mexican. And it just so happens that you're Mexican and you own the Ringside. What a coinky dink. So don't read off Oscar buying this and doing that like he's giving back. No, you're doing something for that you can turn a buck. That's not giving back. Giving back is an unselfish thought or an act. Like, let's say, uh,
Well, Triple G with the Olympics.
I don't know about that. Like let's say, every 6 months he has sneakers, mouth guards, helmets, boxing gloves distribute out through all California for kids and for boxing itself. Him and his partner invented an amateur league where that the boxers come out of the amateur league can improve and you can scout new talents. Creating that amateur league and a free gym for kids to come and work out in inner cities that can't afford it gives them the opportunity to compete with the rest of the kids that can afford it. That's giving back.
That was a brilliant idea of Oscar to buy the Ring magazine. Must have made a big payday selling it to the Turkey, says Bang Bang.
Turkey bought it. Now he has a belt.
What is
He,
that? What is? I'm sorry to cut you off. What is
yep,
this TKO? Who's?
that's
I
Turkey's
don't understand.
league,
So that's Turkey's league.
boxing league. He's
So who's
branching
gonna fight
away.
in there?
Well, he hired Dana White to run it. And what Dana White's model was, they haven't, I really don't know their angle yet, TKO, whether or not they're going to be working with the alphabet boys, all the sanctioning bodies. I don't know if they're going to work with them or if their belt is going to be competing against the alphabet boys. And I
Hmm.
don't know if boxing, the alphabet boys are going to say, if you box in the TKO shit and have their belt, then we don't want you fighting for our belt. I don't know where
Interesting.
this is going to go. I have no idea.
Is it gonna be boxing related, or is it gonna be like mixed
No,
martial arts?
it's all boxing. All boxing.
That's
Dana
interesting.
White's model and his vision for the way it's going to work is the motto is the best fighting the best. Now, Dana White understands that sometimes you can't get the best fighting the best because shit happens. So, what Dana White's plan is the top 5 guys have to be the best fighters in the world. So, between the best top 5, it's mandatory you guys all have to fight each other eventually. So, meaning if there's the champion and this number 1 guy can't fight or perform, well, then you got this guy, and this guy, and this guy to pick from. So you might fight him, right? And when he comes back, he'll eventually fight you. And then these two will probably fight you. And then when these guys eliminate each other, a new 5 will come in. And it would always show the best fighters actually being the best because the way you move up, you must win. So everybody that's winning, the top 5 guys is good. These are all the guys that are winning.
For what you're saying, what I think is gonna be is like it's gonna be like a TKO belt, only one
Huh?
belt. It's gonna be like a TKO belt, like one belt, one champion.
Right,
And
right. It
and
is. It is. It is.
and will you think
Before,
that's gonna be pressure on the other organizations of the WBO,
no,
WBA?
no,
Nope.
no, 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 no. Because the one thing that Turkey does not have in this situation is experience. Same shit that Dana White don't have. He don't have experience with a large group of people. Dana White was able to pull that off in the UFC because he doesn't have divisions filled with 1,300, 400 guys. The maximum capacity of some of his weight divisions was 35 guys, 50 guys, maybe. Maybe. So with one belt, that works. You can't hold a division in boxing hostage with one belt. There's
Right.
over 2,000 guys in the division. If the champion gets hurt or can't perform, you just put 2,000 guys' careers on hold.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
you don't have enough belts to please everybody in the division. You got 2,000 guys. That many guys make more belts.
So it's
That way you can capitalize. So you made four organizations, and the organizations throughout the years, the 100 years of boxing, they've come into all these situations and problems. The reason why we have a 4-belt era is for a reason. We can never go back down to a 2-belt era, a 3-belt era. Boxing's evolved. It's too big. It's worldwide. There are over 50,000 boxers in the world. Easy.
Bang Bang says there's gonna be one champion per division for the TKO.
Right. And that'll work when you have a small organization.
But my question to you is: it boxers gonna transfer to the TKO, or is it gonna be new blood? I don't understand it.
Okay. Okay. When you open a business, it's not necessarily you have to compete with these guys in a year. Your CEO might be a man or a woman that sees long-term future. I don't need your fighters of today so much. I might take one or two superstars, try to kick my shit off. But what you really need are all the young men that are coming up, that you treat them well. You treat them well, you pay them well, and the rumor's going to start going around in boxing. Hey, that TKO league, that shit's not bad. Why? Yo, my uncle was boxing there, and they treat him right. Pa, 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 pa. And if you can get up there, you'll get a championship fight. You'll get championship title matches. Your career will move. It won't sputter out of control. The more times you enter the ring, the more time you get paid. You might have a more successful year in a shorter time with TKO than boxing. Okay? Then TKO is going to hit that wall. Like 100 miles going. Everything's going to be successful. Everything's going to go right until massive amount of fighters starts transferring over to them. Once they start passing 10,000 fighters, that's where the problem's going to happen. Same thing that the WBA woke up to. Then the WBC spun off of them. They kept the fans happy with 2 champions in every division. Then it started getting more crowded. People's careers are damn near going by 10 years in boxing and never got in a title fight. Not even in a fucking phone call, because the line was too long to those 2 belts. So they implemented one more belt, a 3rd belt. Then Mike Tyson's era came, Floyd's. Shit was working. Then all of a sudden, boxing lost their fucking mind. They started spitting out these interims because they saw the value. They had over 50,000 people. They had so many fighters. Shit, we could just put a belt on 10 guys. And still that won't be enough. We could put a belt on 10 guys in one weight division. And you still can have massive title fights in that one division. You still got 2,000 guys you can play with. There's only 10 champions.
But Bang says, Edwin, all the young men coming up that already has a couple loss on their records. I guess he's saying that over the TKO, what we're talking about.
And you
But
can
it
go
sounds
over
to
there.
me, it's gonna be like a G League.
I don't know. There were a lot of different entities that have came to boxing and try to take over boxing and never succeeded. Is boxing that strong? Can we even beat the threat that is Turki Alalshikh with his own new little league? Is it going to be that Turki, like, what happens is Turki becomes a league within boxing, meaning the men that sign with him, Turki gives you the guarantee you'll get your shot. As long as you stay out of that bubble with the alphabet boys, you take a chance of you getting your shot. Like Frank the Ghost Martin been boxing for how long before he got his first shot against Tank Davis?
Hmm.
How long has some of these boxers of today been fighting for years, never fought for a world title?
And that's a good point because some fighters don't reach the pinnacle, become a world champion.
They never do. They've been fighting 10, 12 years in a 4-belt era. There's not enough belts. There really is not enough belts for all those people. And that's why they're making so many interims. To tell you the truth, to go back to a 1-belt era for you over 50,000, get the fuck out of here. Your business of boxing is gonna crumble. And that's the same thing TKO is gonna have to learn. But the only way they're gonna get there, they gotta evolve. You can't make TKO, right? And make it 3-belt era or a 2-belt era. You don't even got 10,000 fighters signed to you.
So TKO is gonna have the USC style of 1 belt and per division. But to me, where I can't wrap my brain around is that you say it's gonna be boxing, but to me it sounds like it's gonna be secondary. It's not gonna be primary. I don't understand.
I see. No one knows the logistics. We're all guessing at this point. That's all I can do. I can give you an educated assumption or guess of how they're gonna run it. They never said anything about the structure. They only said, "Hey, we're announcing TKO. Dana White's the CEO. We're announcing this to the world." That's all they gave us.
It could be all that we know. It could be a triangle ring instead of a square ring.
I don't know. Yeah.
It could be a triangle ring instead of a square ring.
Oh my God! What if it is a triangle ring? And then it'll be fucking. I don't know. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Like I sit back and I'm like, what are all the possibilities, variations, and ways? You know what I'm saying? And like. And I mean, I don't know how they're going to run it. I don't know if they're competing against us or if they're with us. I don't even know that part. I don't know if this is good for us or bad for us.
So it's going to be like I
don't know.
How it's looking to me, like, the UFC had Bellator or PFL. So it's going to be like that for boxing. So boxing's going to have TKO.
Yeah, but now remember what happened. The UFC kicked off a card, like one of the first cards. They went up against Bellator, and the Bellator fighters kicked the shit out of the UFC fighters. They won, and Dana White said, "I'll never do that again." Until he got like strong champions that he did it again. And on that night, the UFC won. Then he used that to try to catapult. But now the real monster that is Dana White, right? He's a beast, right? This motherfucker, he's an animal. He went and bought every competition organization that even threatened the UFC. You do know that Dana White bought Bellator, right? He owns it. Dana White owns the ECW where Uriah Faber was from, and he closed that down. He bought that too. He bought every Mitch Marshall, any platform that was threatening to go up to next to the UFC. He went, wrote him a check, bought it, either closed it down or merged it or used it like the Bellator for requiring talent. If you can be the champion in Bellator, Dana White saying, I'll bring you up to the UFC because he owns it all. Then Dana White got sued Like this was like his seventh major lawsuit that really fucked up Dana White's UFC, which he just lost a massive fucking lawsuit for like $289 million that he has to pay out to the fighters for underpaying them. Then there's another lawsuit from that same fighter that was leading the way for all the other fighters. They got to come to an agreement on another part, right? But one of the things that Dana White also got sued for was having a monopoly in mixed martial arts. And then
Monopoly.
then they forced him to sell some of the properties he had. But Dana
Interesting.
White's a fucking beast. I'm telling you, he's a different creature. This motherfucker turns around and sells these things to like his best friends. So he still owes them. But on
Yeah,
paper, he sold it.
yeah. This whole situation is still green. It's still uh new. It still has it. When it happens, we'll definitely break it down more. All this is guessing. However, I mean, I don't know if you watch wrestling. It sounds like to me how WWE doing right now with TNA. Uh, Sometimes, even with AEW, like some of their wrestlers is crossing over to the WWE side. I don't know. That's
Well,
just my guess. It's just a lot of crossovers and stuff like that. But definitely, I think I'm gonna finish up right now.
yeah.
Man, it's 3 hours. I mean, ain't nothing. I'm gonna cook something, but it's
Listen, I
always
had
great to
an
shop.
amazing time with you, Carlos. Please,
Yeah,
Fight
likewise.
Family, hit them lights. Show my boy Carlos the love. Let him know that he was a great co-host today. We had an
Thank
amazing
you.
time. We talked about a lot of interesting topics in boxing. And if anything, I hope you learned something here today, whether negative, positive, controversy. I hope you got something out of it. And we were able to give our small contribution back to the sport of boxing. Because as we all know, if you're here anyway watching the channel, this is a boxing channel. So right there, we're already winning. Promoting the sport, keeping it up, and may boxing live on forever. Love yourselves. Yo, Carlos, you're the best. Thank
Gracias,
you.
hermano.
Yo, Corillo, Bam Bam, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for participating. And I'll see you on the next one here from Round One Sports TV. And I'm out.